My dad and I are starting the ultimate challenge in Scotland as we take on the jobs as managers in the lower league as my dad becomes the manager of Alloa Athletic. Meanwhile, I am taking over as Queen of the South. The goal, well, that is to become the first to win the Scottish Premier League and claim ultimate bragging rights. But can my tactical genius outwit his old school footballing brain, or will he prove that experience beats innovation? With intense rivalries, tight budgets, and the dream of toppling Celtic and Rangers, this one cannot be missed. Now, this isn't a random appointment. My dad selected Alloa because his mother, my nan, is in fact from Alloa, a club that is currently of just a semi-professional status. My club, however, completely random if I'm honest, based solely on I like the kids. Although very similar size to Alloa, Queen of the South are a professional club, but according to the season preview, both are in a very similar situation in the league. After having a little look at my squad, I've gone for a 4-3-3 tactic using a false 9 up front, but I have brought in one player to add to the side. That being a right back named Sean Rooney, who did play for us briefly in 2016-17, but he is definitely an improvement on what we have in the fullback position right now. But maybe considered a signing in itself, we locked down our best striker, who's only 19 and has just 1 year left on his contract to a longer deal. Dad, however, has opted to go for a narrow diamond formation to be able to play a lot of his star men. He was trying to improve his team, but players were just rejecting him from other clubs. So the obvious option would be to ask for a professional status for Alloa, which could help the recruitment. But the club rejected his request at this point, unfortunately for Dad. He did manage to sign a midfielder on a part-time contract on a free transfer, which gives him lots of options now for his diamond formation. And with the first game of the league campaign in, Dad salvages an away point at Dumbarton. Meanwhile, I was picking up 3 points away from home at Inverness. It was a good start, 3 wins in 4 games for me at the top of the league table, with Dad in second place and currently unbeaten. All right, Dad, so it's a good start to the season for both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not favourites to go up. There's 2 relegated sides who were favourites. We're like 4th and 5th, or 3rd and 4th at one point. I do fancy our chances after looking at that.
Well, I'm really pleased. I haven't lost a game yet, so
yeah,
I'm happy with that. 2 draws, 2 wins, yeah.
I mean, obviously you only brought in one player. The big part of this is the semi-professional status. You kind of need to get that sorted.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially if you go up next season, playing in the Championship.
It's the fitness of the players more than anything. You know, they're working all day and then coming to work, coming to football at the time, do you? So.
Yeah, and just being able to sign players. Like, you're not going to be able to attract the best players if you've got semi-professional who can only give them part-time contracts.
No.
So that's something that you're going to need to address pretty soon. But Dad, talk to me then about this diamond formation. Obviously, McElroy's come in. He was your only sign-in this summer. He slots in nicely on that left-hand side.
Yeah, I had a look at the players available. This is probably the best formation I could get using the players that I had in my team that I felt were good enough to sort of do something in this league. Didn't have very many wingers, so a couple of strikers. So I thought I'd go with this. Hopefully, it's going to be good enough for this season. I'm sort of a bit weak in areas. You've got to take a chance when you're semi-professional. It's what you got available, isn't it?
I mean, this division, the Cinch League 1 automatic promotion and 4 or 3 playoff spots.
Yeah.
And the 3 playoff spots, I believe, if you finish in second place, you wait for the other 2 to play each other, then you play one of them. And then, if you win that, you then have to play the team who finished second from bottom, like, for example, right here would be Montrose, in the league above.
Yeah.
And if you beat them, then they get relegated, you get promoted. If you don't beat them, everybody stays where they are.
There's one answer
it's complicated,
to that,
yeah.
One answer to that, isn't it?
Finish automatically.
You win the league, yeah.
So only one person can go up automatically. Can that be one of us? Now, we've seen the fixtures. Dad, you are unbeaten. We are about to play each other in 2 league games time as well. But of course, there are other cups in Scotland. You love playing in Scotland.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the old cups sort of like, I do enjoy winning the cup. So I'm the cup king in Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the very first time ever, you're managing Alloa Athletic, which you have a bit of affinity for.
Yeah, my mum was born in Alloa, and I have actually been to Alloa to see where she was born. I've been close to the stadium, seen the stadium. So yeah, as soon as we said we was going to do this, I jumped in and I said, I'll be Alloa then.
Yeah, and I'm Queen of the South just because I like the kid. So there we go, season number 1. Let's see what happens when we go through and see who pinches that first position. Will it be one of us? In the matchup against each other, just 1 goal was scored, and it was by Adam Brooks, who gave us a vital 3 points in the race to the league title this season. I certainly wasn't running away with it, though. I picked up a good number of losses. And the second time Dad and I clashed, this time Dad's team took the 3 points to a 2-0 win, keeping his promotion hopes high. And it was really tight at the top, with the understanding that we both knew one of us would probably end up in the playoffs, with the other getting automatic promotion. But with the other two results between us ended in a draw and a win for Dad's Alloa side, he isn't going down without a fight. Unfortunately for him though, he couldn't quite catch my Queen of the South side, who had gained that one and only automatic spot this league campaign, and Dad went into the playoffs, where Dad also lost the first leg. Thankfully for him though, his Alloa side picked up a huge second leg 5-0 win. But to get promoted, he would now have to defeat Wraith, who are in the league above in a promotion/relegation playoff. Again, Dad would have to overcome the first leg loss after conceding in the 90th minute. But in the second leg, up stepped Connor Salmon to level the aggregate score with a penalty, and in the 75th minute, a ball down the left-hand side was headed home to secure the win and promotion for Dad. Well, Dad, you got the win and, of course, promotion.
Pleased with that.
You are joining me in the Cinch Championship.
Get in, Connor. Done me a big favour there.
He did, didn't he?
2 goals when I was... I lost the first leg, so brilliant. Well done.
Went up through the hard way, coming through the playoffs.
Kept the clean sheet.
Deservedly, obviously, finishing in second place. Quite close, but yeah, you are joining me in the league above. Now, the league itself, we kind of finished quite high ahead of everyone, but the goal difference was the plus 26 for you, plus 44 for me, when the highest outside of that is Cove Rangers of plus 12. But there we go. But goals-wise, we didn't exactly have the biggest goal scorers. Callum Gallagher there with our Broth was the top scorer of the league. You had Luke Donnelly with 17. It's defensively. Clean sheets, we both had the 2 highest there. Ross Stewart for me with 17. He's done really well. And you've got PJ Morrison there with 13.
I'm surprised because I was a bit doubtful with my keeper. I felt like I needed to change him. I didn't think he was good enough. So, yeah, I'm happy. I mean, the one thing that lets me down sort of one-on-one's 9. I was a bit worried about that. So, yeah, he done me a favor. He done well. Well done, boy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not
shocked to anybody that you was looking to change goalkeepers.
I'm not promising you'll be there next season.
Yeah. I mean, now, obviously, you are losing Luke Donnelly. You can see here he's leaving on a free transfer, unfortunately. But
I'm going to expect that, and I.
Yeah, so that is going to
Someone's going to offer him
be
a
next
full-time
season.
contract. They're going to take him, isn't they?
Exactly that. Yeah, and Connor Salmon, who is... won your promotion. He's 37. I very much doubt you're going to be. And 35 for Kevin Corley, who played quite a lot of games. A lot of first-team players leaving.
There's a lot of goals to replace as well.
Yeah, but going up a division, that can be a good thing. What also is a good thing is you also, Dad, have a professional status now.
I needed that.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to help me now getting some players in.
That is going to help.
Yeah.
Now, financially, you haven't been given much of a transfer budget, just 15 grand.
Winning and dealing?
Yeah, so, but a decent wage budget. We don't really know much about this division yet in terms of what type of players we can get, etc. So it's going to be one of them.
The good thing I noticed as well, if I sell any players, I get 100%.
Yeah, so that's but there's not a lot of value in your squad. Oh, good, I get 55 grand for my best player. It's going to be one of those where we're going to play it by ear really and find out how good this transfer window can be. But let's have a look at the Queen of the South squad that I've got. Adam Brooks, who of course signed a new deal at the start of the season. He's 20 years of age now, got 15 goals this year. Is he going to be good enough in a league above? We're not quite sure. 16 assists and 11 or 10 goals there for McKennie on that right-hand side. Not bad. I don't know whether I will keep maybe the shape, but I don't know whether this exact system will be running next year, because I basically based it around some of the players' best positions. I did a U, like false 9 is Brooks, and it's not exactly a role I enjoy using, the false 9. I can't really normally get it to work, but it's done all right for me here. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, transfer budget for me, I've got less than what you have, and the wage budget is also less. So yeah, maybe the fact that you're now a professional club, they're backing you as well. You've got more, I guess, more backing than what I have. Yeah, more resources.
I think the only difference between the two squads, your squad seems to be a bit younger than my squad. So
yeah, you had a couple of players who are a little bit older, and I don't think I'm losing many players from my first team. These are all the players who are running out of contract now. There's only a couple of players there who've actually played any games. So yeah, I mean, what I can do with the transfer budget, don't know, but it's all about survival in the Cinch Premiership next season. Immediately, I'm getting excited because of the prospect of a board takeover which could bring me in some more money. But within a couple of days, that seems to have fallen through and won't be happening. Dad began the summer bringing in players to immediately strengthen his team with a new midfielder and a striker coming through the door at Alloa. My options were fairly limited in comparison, and I brought in a midfielder but was struggling to find players in the position I needed, defence. I couldn't for the life of me find any fullbacks, and I ended up signing an attacking midfielder, which right now I'm not using, but it did give me an idea. So call me crazy, I might steer away from the 4-3-3 that won me the league last season, and I built an absolutely wild 3-2-4-1 tactic as a base shape, which would utilise a lot of the attacking players I've approached. Because I am finding some cracking players in attacking positions, like another attacking midfielder as well as a winger as well. My scouts were also finding me players once a lot of the players were failing to find clubs and were lowering their standards. Dad was also benefiting from this too, and he began approaching players he previously stood no chance in signing. Although there were occasions that he couldn't get the players that he wanted because of work permits. Even still, he managed to bring in some quality players that gave Alloa a good shot of doing well this season. What could be even more crazy is Dad is sticking with the same tactic as he used last season. He must be poorly or something. I also managed to bring in players that instantly improves my team, and especially the striker Owuzu, who I genuinely believe could play in the Scottish Premiership. Dad's new signing Dobby won the fans over immediately as he scored the equaliser in a 1-1 draw with Dundee on the opening day. Meanwhile, Partick Thistle scored a very late goal to prevent me from picking up 3 points in my first game. But then I've either discovered the best kept secret system in world football, or we're getting incredibly lucky. Because we weren't just scoring goals and doing well, we were slaughtering teams that we were playing early on. Scoring 6 past 1, 4 past another, 3 against Dundee and Hamilton, but Dad was also thriving and unbeaten at this point of the window closing, winning 3 and drawing 2. Hey, I tell you what, Dad, not a bad start to the season we got going on here.
We've done really well here, haven't we? We're taking this league apart already.
I mean, we are both unbeaten. You've drawn a couple of games there.
Yeah.
I've drawn 1 game, so I'm currently top just by 2 points ahead of you, but obviously it's really early days yet. We're the only 2 unbeaten teams in the league. You didn't change tactic, which
no,
really unlike you. I did, and I went risky. Like,
yeah,
there's no way like this should be just something that I've stumbled upon that nobody's ever used before, by the way, that I've seen. And yeah, I mean, so far it's so good. I mean, a couple of the players that I brought in were unbelievably good. You can see obviously the striker that we just brought in.
You've got to be looking at that striker, haven't you?
Yeah,
19
he is
years of
fantastic.
age. He looks good. Well, he's got to be really good as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, a step above compared to what we were looking at last year as well.
Yeah,
he has some weaknesses like the consistency, etc. But from a free transfer, used to be part of Inter Milan's team. I've never used him before, Inakawuzu. So he got 16 goals last season in the Serie C.
He's already got 2 for you.
He's got 2 already in this league. But I think my top goal scorer is actually this man here, Ben Davies. He's Thai/English. Again, really good for a free transfer. Last season was playing in the Thailand league. He's got 6 goals in 5 games from attacking midfield. Like,
unbelievable, isn't it?
That's so good. I mean, we'll look at the transfers because a couple of the ones we haven't really covered yet. Ben Davies was that guy there. Frankie Masonda was actually a loan deal to play at the back. He's already injured because that's always what happens to me as soon as I sign a new player.
Yeah.
They always get injured. But he comes in as a good defender because although I was finding really good attacking players, one thing I did notice, I was struggling to bring in good defenders, which was one of the reasons why I thought, right, let's go where I'm only using 3 at the back and not having to worry about fullbacks. Because other than Sean Rooney, who, funny enough, actually has been playing, but in my best 11 doesn't get in the team, I couldn't really find any good fullbacks. And I thought, well, let's just go without fullbacks and go attacking. And so far, it's been quite good for me. A couple of loan deals coming in. This guy is not bad. I pretty much picked him up because his physicals are fantastic and he's 6'3". And then we've got Mutsuma as well, who I've got on loan from Benfica on the left-hand side, who can also play up top. So got some good options up there. And yourself, Dad, you've also done the same. Now, our scouts I think, have done us really well here.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
You found quite a lot of free transfers late on, just before the season really started, where you're picking up now your best player in those positions.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
centre midfielder,
good strength
Nicky Lowe.
centre midfielder. Yeah, the striker you've seen there, or he's more of a winger, but he is also a striker as well. And we know what I've just lost both my strikers really.
Yeah.
So, and that's where he'll play. He'll play up front for me. So,
And then we've got this man, Kalaja.
this was one of my late signings. Yeah, so
I
really
think
pleased.
that's probably your best signing.
100%. I needed a new defender. This is the guy that can do it for me. Bit concerned that he was weak on the left because I think I'm playing him on the left as well. So
Yeah. Although he can play left,
that's what I'm worried about.
but he's right-footed.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I mean, I was looking for a left side, and we all know they're quite hard to pick up, and they. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that he's going there, but he's a good defender for this league. I
I mean, he
think.
comes straight out of Real Madrid's academy. He played
Here we go. Yeah.
for the second team there, 30
Yeah.
games last season. So straight from there to Alawa.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Brilliant.
But yeah, there's a lot of free transfers that have come in that you've picked up that, is going to do a world of good in terms of the size of your squad. But
Yeah, definitely. I had to get a couple of players in, and as you can see, I think the majority of them have all gone in as well. So
yeah,
well, the defenders have moved to the right hand side now, so that's okay. So my attack's looking a lot better. Nice young attacking forward now.
Yeah.
And I got another youngster in as well, not a 19-year-old who's not on starting lineup.
Luke Rankin, that guy there.
Yeah, this guy could be good as well. So I thought I'd get him in. I'm touching where at first I bought him and I thought I'd lock him in, but then I got the other striker. So
Yeah,
I thought,
and then his potential then goes down
completely
then
dropped,
because
yeah.
you signed better players.
Yeah,
That seems
that's
to
the
be
only problem.
That's the problem you have. Well, at the start of the transfer window, we were looking at players that we had signed, and they were like 4 or 5 star because it's compared to the squad you've got.
Yeah.
And then that was the same with him. He had like a 4-star with a 5-star white star there, which means obviously he could be amazing in terms of the potential of your squad. Then you've signed better players since, and now he looks bang average.
Not so good, yeah.
Not so good
But
at all.
at the end of the day, he's there to help. He's a youngster. I'm going to have him for a few seasons now. So,
Yeah.
I feel that I've got a better team. I'm not going to say a squad. I'm going to say a better team now, and it's proven that already in this league. I haven't lost yet, so
Yeah.
good start. I'm pleased with that.
I mean, yeah, season preview does stick you down in 10th place, 200 to 1. They're
Yeah.
a little bit more friendly to me.
They
in
are,
6th
yeah.
place there,
Yeah.
5 to 1. But so far, we're defying the odds here. Not finishing. We're currently in 1st and 3rd place. Again, though, it's a playoff scenario.
Yeah.
It's a difficult league to get out of. But can we do it? A month later, Dad and I finally clashed, and although Dad's Alawa side was doing well, they were simply not prepared for Ben Davies on this day, as he scored 4 goals in Alawa in a 5-0 win. He didn't score in the second matchup that we played Dad just before Christmas, but Owuzu did in another 3-1 win for the Queen of the South. Dad's form was good up until the December fixtures, but he is still holding on to a playoff position as I somehow pull an even further lead at the top of the league. In the new year, they did eventually beat my Queen of the South side 3-2 with a last-minute penalty, but this wasn't a one-off win. Dad's side was really good in the back half of the season and picked up a lot of victories. He was just really hard to beat, and for the second season in a row, we record a 1-2 finish in the league table, and Dad enters the playoffs. And in the first leg, away to Dundee in the second round of the playoffs, Dad's team took a great advantage, winning 3-2 and scoring in the first minute. But Dundee did get a sneaky second goal in the 90th. And that lapse in defending in the first leg could be fatal for Dad's promotion hopes, as Dundee completely take it to Dad and in the second leg go on to win the game 2-0, joining me in the promotion party and leaving Dad and Alawa in the Championship for another season. Oh, you've got to be gutted with that. Taking a first leg win as well.
Done the hard job of being away from home, didn't I? I'm absolutely robbed. I mean, Dundee lost 13 league games this season. I only lost 5, same as you.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just got stuffed, didn't I?
I mean, you even had the better of the game, though. You had 20 shots to their 9 and couldn't score a goal. 5 on target. Had an XG of 1.51 and couldn't find the net. And a 4-3 aggregate loss.
Disappointing. I mean,
means
last
that you
season I've
stay
done
in
the
the
opposite,
league.
didn't I? I lost that away from home, then won my home game and it went through. This time, I've been done.
Dundee.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have just said to you I wanted to survive in that league. So I'm really pleased with what I've done this season, but when you get that close and you lose that way, I'm just absolutely gutted.
I mean, the promotion playoff, you would have to have faced Falkirk.
Yeah.
Dundee beat them 2-0 in the second leg again. So they are the second leg kings, it seems, this season. So they will be getting promoted alongside Queen of the South. Don't ask me how, But somehow we only lost 5 games all season. One of them was, of course, against you, Dad, there. We also drew against you in one of the home legs. But I don't know how I managed to do that, playing that tactic.
And say goal difference.
Yeah.
You scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, I mean, look at the average ratings.
Yeah.
And they're all my front 4 players, basically. Yeah. Grant Savory was one of the centre attacking midfielders that was there, and obviously the other 3 we've highlighted before. Clean sheets-wise was your goalkeeper. PJ Morrison was up there with 15. I only had 10, and I won the league. So, as you say, whereas last season, I probably relied on a really good defence, this season, I just relied on scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the golden boot winner either. Ben Davies, which was my centre attacking midfielder, got 19. So
I'm surprised. I'd like to know where that new striker done, because he was really good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's there with 12 goals. So he played 36 games, got 12 goals. Decent amount.
Yeah.
And he's worth up to £1.9 million. Not bad for a free transfer.
No.
Not bad at all. So let's have a look then, Dad. At Alloa Athletic, of course, the other cup competitions you were eliminated fairly early. 5th round by St Johnstone. Scottish Cup's quite good, to be fair.
Yeah.
But squad-wise, I mean, 16 goals from Lewis Dobby, the 19-year-old, and Michael Roof also got 16 goals.
Yeah.
There are a few players who are leaving the club. This might be your downfall here, including the likes of PJ Morrison, your goalkeeper. I mean, you do have an opportunity to try and persuade him to stay, but right now, I mean, there is an offer going in. Maybe he will opt to stay.
Hope he does.
Yeah, he kept his options open.
Yeah, I mean, it already shows that he was the best keeper in the league, so I've got to try and keep him.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of players there that you might want to try and see if you can keep hold of for another season. And the transfer budget is quite good.
Yeah, better than last season, I think. So, yeah.
But we know you don't necessarily have to have a good budget. You just need to have a decent enough wage budget to find those free transfers. And to be honest, it's not now you need to find the free transfers. It's like middle July.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where we found all of the good players.
Ones,
we couldn't attract anybody until the middle of July when players realised, I can't get into any other club.
That's right.
I'll have to go to Alloa or have to go to Queen of the South.
They also dropped their wage demand as well then, didn't they?
Yeah.
So that's what gives us a bit more chance then.
Yeah, it's the same situation as when the Saudi players...
Yeah.
When they first leave, they're like, I want 400 grand. And then, like, 2 months later, you go, what do you want now? And they'll go, I want 40 grand. I think we're in the same situation there, which is a few levels down. So I'm going to go into the Premiership. And the race is to win the Premiership.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
I've just got to survive.
It's going to be really hard, though. Yeah, you got to survive, else you could be joining me again.
Absolutely. So Ben Davies, 24 goals. We've got Adam Brooks with 20, which isn't bad at all. That's the striker that I was using last season. Still doing really well, and he's wanted as well. But Grant Savory, what a season he's had. 15 goals and 10 assists. Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
Free transfer bringing him in. 18 assists just in the league alone. Really good season there. So I've got to be happy with that. The transfer budget, they've given me 0 to play around with. Like, this is not good. Financially, of course, I had a decent season, and yet they've crashed the finances because of the guys I brought in, I guess. So I kind of just need to... I mean, I think the big question is, going into season 3, do I stick with that? Or do I go to the more defensive situation that I had the season before, which obviously carried me through promotion, so I know it kind of works, but defensively it was a lot stronger.
It's a difficult league.
Yeah.
It's a difficult league.
Because if I play that, I'm getting hammered by 4 teams.
Your top 5 teams are always there, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're going to give you hammerings.
Yeah, definitely.
It's how you do against the rest of the league, really.
Yeah, the old firm clubs playing that, I'm going to probably get destroyed.
Oh, definitely, I think, yeah. So, good luck, son. Might see you next season.
Maybe.
I might just transfer over past you.
Yeah, it all depends. Yeah, we could switch next season and it'll be really embarrassing, wouldn't it? It all depends on recruitment, I think. If I can find the right players, I could survive. I just don't know whether it'll be this or whether it will be the 4-3-3. But hey, let's find out. So far in Season 1, both Dad and I have gained promotion from the 3rd tier. And in Season 2, while I went mad building a stupidly weird tactic, Dad stuck with the same system for once. And while he narrowly missed out on back-to-back promotions in the playoff, I was winning the league again and already finding myself in the top flight. But this is where it's going to become really difficult for me. However, Dad needs to find a way of joining me soon in the Scottish Premier League. So to improve Dad's Brad's team going into season number 3, he's already started signing some new players, including a striker and a centre-back. More players were joining, but not exactly game-changing signings just yet. But as I was going into the top league, I needed to make sure I kept hold of my good players, and Owuzu signs a new deal. And I really needed to improve the standard of my first team, and I began that by signing 3 players on free transfers. Both of us had the same idea though. We needed a new goalkeeper, and we welcomed one to each of our sides. However, with money being so tight for my Queen of the South side, I might have to rely on loans as I welcome a defender in. Dad, of course, had a bit more cash to play around with than I did, and continued to sign new players to his team in hopes of promotion this season. With the season already beginning though, I might have to consider changing my tactic, as I'm not having success in the top flight. Only 1 point for my opening 3 league games, and I am considering going back to my season 1 tactic at the 4-3-3 with a bit of defensive stability. Although our first match after the switch was a loss, it was against Aberdeen and it was only 2-1. Dad's start to the season has been a little up and down as well, as his team tries to adjust with even more new signings. I don't know where I need to change it or not. The trouble is, it's like, I mean, this game here, I conceded in the 94th minute.
Yeah, you're unlucky there, really.
Might have been a really good point away to Aberdeen.
Well, it would have been, because that's the first top team, I would say, in that league that you've played against, and you nearly got a draw.
Yeah.
So it's unlucky.
So that's the question. Do I carry on with this, or do I take a gamble and go for the 3-2-4-1 that I was using last season to great success, might I add?
Yeah.
The only trouble I really have is my squad depth. Like, they gave me hardly anything to come up with, and after a couple of signings, that was it. It was like, right, I can't do any more. So my squad is also really small. I'm in such a difficult position.
Yeah, you are, yeah. And we did say this, didn't we, that it's going to be one of those things with this league. The top boys are going to give you hammerings or take points they get off you. And what do you do with the teams below you?
Yeah.
Or around you? That's the games you've got to make sure you win.
Yeah.
And which tactic's going to do that, I don't know. Can't help you, mate.
Well, no, that's it. I'm being resorting to having to run with this now and just see really how it's going to get on. I don't know whether to switch to this.
It's about survival, isn't it? You've got to survive in that league and build.
I think I'll stick with this. I think it was a good game against Aberdeen, and I was just unlucky with the last minute finish there from the penalty spot. But there we go. It's very different, Dad, on your side of the situation, because you've lost one game there. Well, you've lost two games.
Two
actually.
league games, yeah.
Yeah, away from home. But you're still in contention, I would say, of going up.
I've lost 2 away games, but I'm still happy.
Yeah, they still think you're 200 to 1 to get promoted.
I don't understand why that. I mean, I finished second in the league last season.
Yeah.
And they're 201 and 2.
Although I'm 600 to 1 in the league above. So very interesting stuff.
I felt I've had a good transfer window as well. I thought I've got some good players, and I feel that I've got a better starting 11 as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a few of them. Juma Race,
I needed a better striker. I've got a better striker in.
This might be your best signing.
I've just better say that. I think this is my best signing. They've just sat beyond the 2 strikers, and he's a finisher as well, which is I like that.
Yeah,
this guy's going to score me. I wouldn't be surprised if he's my leading goal scorer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. He looks brilliant in behind the striker. Colin McAvoy has also come in recently as like a good backup.
Yeah, definitely. Centre
back, but you've got some decent players. Didn't spend a penny, of course.
Nope.
You weirdly had like more money than me, which was bizarre. But
I mean, the signings that I can see right from there is I've got new centre back leak.
Yeah.
New right back.
Let's hope he's not leaky at the back, eh?
I've got a new goalkeeper. I've also got a reserve centre back in as well, and then it's obviously the guys up front that you've just seen.
These two
there, yeah. So I feel that I've got a better start in 11.
Yeah.
So
I know you're a bit under the weather. We can probably hear that from your voice. Yeah. But this is the 3rd season you haven't touched this tactic.
Well, I've looked at the squad.
You're signing goalkeepers, so we're not going like crazy.
No, I only signed the one keeper.
Yeah.
I only signed the one keeper, really. And probably the keeper from last season was really good, but I just felt I needed to strengthen that position. And I think that's what it is. When I took over Alloa, this was the best tactic I had. And all I've done with the transfers that I've had, because obviously I'm getting freebies.
Yeah.
I've improved each position that I've bought a player for.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a player for a position that I don't play. And that's why I haven't changed.
It's been 2 years, he's finally learning.
This is what happens when I get no money. I concentrate a bit more then, don't I?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even though I tell you this all
Yeah.
the time, buy the players for the tactic you're using. Don't buy players and change the tactic that works into something that won't.
Hey, new year, new me.
Oh, it's about time. Anyway,
It won't
yeah.
last long.
You started off the season okay. It's going to be a tough season for you to get automatic, I think, but you'll certainly be in the playoff situation, I think, at the end there. Lewis Dobby is still scoring a lot of goals for you. The youngster, he's your top
Yeah,
scorer
he's got
so
5
far.
already, so I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
So, the last 2 games I'm really pleased with, so it looks like I'm away now.
Yeah, will we be switching leagues? That's the interesting question. Let's find out. Well, Dad's next match, he did pick up a fairly fortunate win thanks to an own goal, but that's maybe where his luck decided to run out. Because what followed was back-to-back 3-0 losses, first against Falkirk, and then an away trip to St Johnstone, and things weren't going much better on my end either. I had only managed to secure 2 wins in my opening 21 league games, and was rooted to the bottom of the league with only 6 draws saved me from a disaster start. Dad's Alloa side never picked up the form that he had in the first 2 seasons, and he found himself falling to 5th place and outside of the playoffs by 14 points with not many games remaining. So the question may not be whether we were swapping leagues, and instead just will I be rejoining Dad in the Championship. My only hope is that with just 5 games to go until the league splits into 2, I was only 2 points behind safety and would get to play all of the teams around me. Unfortunately for Dad, his season got even worse and he found himself only 3 points away from a relegation playoff spot in 7th. Meanwhile, my fight was well and truly still on as I defeated Dundee United and then drew to Dundee. And after the split, it was another 3 points against Dundee United after a wonder strike from Rooney. But the biggest win came in the second to last game as we defeated Hearts 3-0, which was the 3 points that helped me climb above Dundee United into 10th place and to be safe. Well, considering I was bottom of the league for such a long time, I survived by the skin of my
your
teeth.
Yeah.
This was quite a testing season, but once we got into the relegation, I mean, look at that. Never got higher than where I actually finished. I actually finished in 10th, look. I was only ever once not 10th, and that was the first game, match 2, when I got 1 point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how I managed to do that, really. But still, we managed to do it.
Yeah, well done.
The run that we went on towards the end of the season, 2 wins in our last 3 games, is what's made me survive. In that relegation group of just 5 games, the 2 wins and a draw. Huge, absolutely huge for me. Have they backed me though? Have they? By the looks of it, I don't think they're really backing me. Goals wise, I mean, Adam Brooks has still done really well for me, and Owuzu's done quite well as well from that right hand side. I do think I need to bring in some better defenders. I think that might be the case going into this next season. But we're $1 million in the red already. I ain't done anything. Barely brought anybody in. I don't know how we're $1 million in the red. We're going to might have to sell a player or something. I don't really know. But Dad, for you, not so good. 7th place.
Really disappointed with that.
Only 3 points off relegation yourself.
Yeah. I went from losing, was it 5 games last season to 18 games this season?
Yeah.
And what I thought was a better starting 11.
Yeah.
Disappointed with that.
That's because you didn't change your tactic. Shit. What do I always tell you?
Yeah, there you go. See,
They'll suss it out.
We know what's coming.
But yeah, really poor end of the season there. I wonder
I'm a bit
whether you
disappointed
had like just a stupid amount of injuries coming in. That could be a possibility this season. You had a few players out for about 4 weeks. Nothing
Striker
major
there.
though.
Striker, that's Lewis Dunbar, who's my main striker anyway.
Yeah, he got 20 goals for you.
Yeah, he still played 41 games as well.
Yeah. So maybe you missed him when he wasn't there, but yeah, I mean, they're giving you more money than I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'm the league above, but I guess financially, I mean, you're not as much in the red.
No.
You are in the red. You're not as much as in the red as what I am. So it's going to be a big summer for both of us because you still need to push for that promotion.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I need to avoid relegation at all costs this
I've got a
season
bigger squad
coming.
than you as well. I can afford to sell a few players, but
Yeah.
I ain't got anybody with big value in my team.
No, that's the
really,
trouble, but
so.
I'm guessing this will definitely change.
It's looking that way, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, then. Well, let's see what we do across the summer. Dad wasted no time signing new players and, of course, trying to change up his system into a 4-2-3-1 from his narrow diamond. And the revolving door of new signings at Alloa continued as more midfielders joined the club as well as a winger. Meanwhile, I knew I needed to improve my defence and I brought in a decent fullback who can cover both sides. And as more defenders came in, I backed this up with a switch up of a system to a 4-1-4-1 as I'm determined to stop leaking goals this season. Dad then signed a veteran striker in Eamon Brophy to play up front, and despite only playing now a one-striker formation, another striker joined the club. God knows what Dad's up to. He was buzzing though as his scouts came to him with a cracking goalkeeper he could sign on a free transfer. Speaking of which, I had a plan of my own, because a player became available that would be amazing. I just need to sell a player, so I accept a huge bid for Adam Brooks. But somehow an impending takeover then cancelled the deal and prevented me from signing World Cup winner Mario Götze to Queen of the South. I am absolutely gutted. Imagine a world where Mario Götze would have been playing for Queen of the South.
Yeah.
In the Premiership.
You tried everything, mate, didn't you?
I was willing. I mean, he's 34. He's one of my all-time favourite players just because of I loved him when he was at Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, he scored the World Cup final goal in 2014. I was willing to sell my either captain or vice-captain, Adam Brooks, who was a striker that I have been trying to cling on to my whole time. He's not getting like first team minutes at the minute, but I was willing to get rid of him to bring in Mario Götze for £1.1 million. And then, out of nowhere, how often do takeovers happen, by the way?
Yeah.
Where they actually go through and have a transfer embargo. Out of nowhere, Falkirk. Transfer embargo. Cancelled the deal. Might be good in the long run.
I think it's done you a favour. For the time being, he's younger. He's got more years. You're selling me.
Yeah, but I wanted Mario Götze. He is so good. I would have had to have played him here. Mind, because we're not playing a centre attacking midfielder, or I change it around a little bit just to suit Mario Götze because he's World Cup winner Mario Götze.
I'd do the same if Harry Kane came up on free fee. I'd be trying to get
exactly two very different types of players.
Well, yeah,
but the bloody board. I mean, I've got enough in there. It just wouldn't let me adjust, and I tried to interact with them. They weren't having it at all. But anyway, I mean, I have changed tactics. I've gone for my 4-1-4-1, which I know is a lot more defensively structured and suits me having these good attacking midfielders. It just leaves a lot up front for the one man. You kind of need a really good striker up there, which I was hoping would be more Owuzu, but I think Adam Brooks most of the time has started games at the minute. He does actually phase in, so Owuzu will probably get some minutes. Maybe we'll see a better outcome for him because of that, because I do think he's good enough for this level. He's a fantastic player.
He's getting better. I mean, he's only 21.
Yeah.
So,
that's it, yeah. As an advanced forward, hopefully he can pick up some goals. We've got enough players around him to try. I mean, these two in midfield, I think, is what's going to help the most. Got a box-to-box midfielder there. He's perfect for that role. Taylor Richards, only 25 as well. And then Davis, of course, helped me get up into this division. Ben Davis is still here, the Thailand international, and doing really well.
Yeah,
so
still getting better as well, yeah.
It's just my defence. We still haven't really brought in that many good defenders. And the board are still being so strict that I don't have a lot of players. So we're just going to have to rock with what we got, unfortunately, with that transfer budget. But it is a good start to the season in comparison to what we were last year. I mean, getting 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 draw, 1 loss is not bad at all. We actually sit in 4th. We're not going to stay there, don't get me wrong. But for now, we're sat in 4th. And Falkirk, who somehow had £1 million to offer me, is bottom of the league right now. But anyway, in the division below, Dad, your quest of trying to get out of the Cinch Championship and into the Premiership, again, has took a bit of a rocky start.
2 losses already.
Same as me, 7 points in 5 games. But you're not 4th, you're 6th instead. 2 wins there against Ross County and Queen's Park. You've obviously brought in some good players. We've seen a few of them.
Yeah, I felt I had a good transfer window. I mean, I lost a few players coming the end of the contracts, weren't interested in signing new contracts. Lost my keepers, so I had to get a couple of keepers in. So.
Yeah, you signed a Man United keeper.
Yeah.
Luke Molyneux's also joined as well.
Yeah.
Looks like a decent winger.
There you go. That tells you something straight away then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I find a winner, what am I doing? I'm going to be playing wingers.
Although you did sign how many strikers of it? 3?
Yeah, I did.
And then you're only actually playing 1 up front.
The reason being that is because the winger that was playing well last season, he was a better winger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I stuck him out on the wing. So I felt I've lost my best striker. So I just brought in a couple of strikers as well. Dobie was the one I'm talking about. He's gone out into the wing. So I'm hoping he's still going to score me the goals. I brought Stuart in as my main striker now.
Yeah.
But obviously, playing 1 up front, you still need your reserve strikers because I don't want Dobie coming off the wing. I want to keep him out there. So they had to be good strikers to sort of like keep him off there, because he will, as soon as Stewart gets injured, he'll go straight into that position.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got a good keeper in. This team will do it this time.
Okay, well.
The last couple of results were all right, so.
Let's have a look. One last thing that we checked then, the season preview. You've come off the bottom now.
Yeah, they're
only in 7th.
Yeah, they're sort of favouring me a little bit more. What, 16
Dundee United, I mean, if they don't go
Yeah.
up, there's something wrong by the looks of those odds of 1 to 91, which is absolutely mental. In the Premiership, it's Falkirk who's at the bottom as well. Obviously, they're going through a takeover. Somehow they had £1 million to spend, which I don't... Is that some kind of, like, scam? Was I about to be scammed here? Is that money laundering? What was happening there? That was ridiculous, but there we go. We're no longer at the bottom. Can we survive again? And will Dad be joining us in this league? Well, I capitalise on my 50-50 start with a great run of 3 on the bounce at the end of September, followed by another 4 points. After that, though, losses started to creep in as we then had a bad run of games in December. However, we still find ourselves really safe in 7th place and 18 points from the drop. Dad, on the other hand, was still struggling. He was drawing too many games, meaning that when he finally did pick up a run of wins, it only allowed him to sneak into the playoffs and way off the automatic promotion. But he never deserved to finish even in the playoffs with just 5 wins after Christmas. Too many draws and losses, and Dad's playoff hopes were over, finishing in 5th place and 5 points behind. And although I had struggled against the big boys, form was much better for me at the end of the season. I enjoyed the relegation group split, as I went unbeaten in this group and finished in 7th place and over 20 points away from any danger. Well, Dad, I don't know. You've had 2 bad seasons in a row now.
I finished below at Dundee, though. They were favourites.
Yeah, they were like wildly favourites. They finished in 6th. Like, this league is incredibly unpredictable, which goes to show when the 2 promoted sides from 2 seasons ago finished 1st and 2nd.
Yeah.
But
I drew too many games.
Yeah, 10 games in total, 52
you can't
points.
afford to draw that many games, so
way off
it
as well.
Yeah, nowhere near it. So have a look at it again now, won't I?
Back to the drawing board.
Start tinkering again, I think.
But bad season, even in the cups, like quarter-final exit by Queen's Park, who got relegated from your league. Rangers
When you
in
go
the
against
Scottish
Rangers
Cup.
and Aberdeen, I'm expecting to lose against them teams as well. So
yeah,
bad season.
Okay, well, I had a good season. This is a win for me because, all right, we didn't finish in the top half, but we are so far away from that relegation scrap. I am really, really pleased. So the defensive side of the game was definitely useful for me this season. Our goal difference was a positive. Neymar's still in the league, by the way, in case you didn't see that previously. Neymar is in there. 10 assists this year. He's got the highest average rating in the league. Oh, what a player. But no, he's actually just left. He's gone to Flamengo now. But there we go. So I'm really pleased with that.
Yeah.
So I can push on for next season. Maybe get into that top half. Push for a European spot. Who knows? If they back me, which currently they definitely haven't.
No.
And financially, £2 million in the red now. So it's actually getting worse. I'm not quite sure what they're expecting me to do about it, because it's not like I'm breaking the bank signing players. Maybe I'll have to sell Adam Brooks. Bring him in. There's another who's interested in him. Maybe I have to sell him and see what happens from
your main
from
striker, that good striker you signed, is 6 to 8 million now. That could solve all your problems.
And he's wanted.
Yeah,
he is wanted. Dronians, who, if they're coughing up that, fair play.
Yeah.
But I very much doubt it. I think they're the league below. So unless you're doing that in the Championship, I have no idea how you're managing to do that. That's absolutely mental. You got 19 goals for me. That's not bad. Morrison got 16 as well from the wings. It seems he's done quite well. Grant Savory, 10 and 10. Fantastic stuff. Yourself, though, Dad, where did it go wrong, do you think? Dobby got you 7. Leighton Stewart, got you 17. Dobby got you 12.
So I got the new striker in. He got me 17 goals, so I'm happy with that. Dobby from the wing got me 12 with 8 assists. So, yeah, shadow striker, I think, let me down. He didn't score so many goals, did he?
No, he didn't. Yeah, he broke his total towards the end of the season. He only got 7 goals.
That's what let me down. I expected that goal. When I signed him, I expected him to be leading goal scorer the season before and this season, really.
Yeah.
But he's just not doing it for me, is he?
No, he isn't at this point. Now, going into the transfer window, you have a minus wage budget there, which isn't going to be too great for you. At the minute, it doesn't look like you've got much. It might... I mean, you're also in the red as well.
Yeah.
It might be because we haven't ticked over to the right part yet. We're only on the 18th of May, so that could be the reason. But right now, it doesn't look like either of us have got much money. We could be both looking at selling players in the future, but I don't know where you're going to sell yours from. You might have to really sort out a good tactic.
Yeah, I've got a big squad, but Not much value in the squad. That's my problem.
Yeah, Lewis Lee seems to have a little bit of interest in him there.
Yeah.
And he is worth quite a lot. You still got 100% of your transfer revenue. That could be an option for you.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think we're going to have to sell off our players to try and accomplish something here and take us to the next step? We knew this challenge was going to be hard, don't get me wrong. But after the first 2 seasons, I was like, oh God, I hope we don't breeze through this.
Yeah.
Now you can clearly see this isn't going to be a walk in the park. We are going to be challenged. And it's, all right, season 1 and 2 wasn't that hard. But it seems like season 3 and 4, we scraped by here. Season 5 and 6 could be our trickiest yet. So this whole challenge of the race into the Scottish Premiership, the title, it's going to be a long one, I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, it might well be a long one, but this is why you need to subscribe so you do not miss what happens next. Well, that's a success for both of us in Season 1. Dad has been playing catch-up since Season 2 as I gained back-to-back promotions. While in the Scottish Prem, I survived by going ultra-defensive with my system as we avoided relegation, and narrowly missing out on signing a World Cup hero for Queen of the South. Even without him, though, I'm knocking on the door of the top half of the table, so Dad really needs to focus. Because he's now spent 3 seasons in the Championship without joining me. So if he's to beat me in the race to the Scottish Prem, he better be looking at promotion soon. I began thinking I was going to be adding huge money to my budget as Airdronians had put on a £7 million offer for Owuzu. Somehow they are rich and I'm hoping to cash in. But of course life isn't that easy and Owuzu rejected the move and I was gutted. Dad began the season with a plan that required him to sign defenders. So 2 of them came through the door, one of them being Alfie Gilchrist, who's a fantastic player for the league. I finally sold Adam Brooks though, in a bit of a reluctant sale, but it's the fact that I can bring in new players thanks to the £1 million he goes for. And so I began targeting new signings and I was finding a lot of value in the Irish leagues. Players who would cost a lot more if they were already in Scotland, as well as a couple of free transfers, including Mason Mellier, who was 19 and instantly would become my best striker for 700k. I didn't stop there though, I found a free transfer in an 18-year-old centre-back from Saudi Arabia, who again improves my first team after he was released. Going back to Dad's plan, he was switching up to 3 at the back formation with 3 strikers, a mix of an attacking and defensive system just as the season was about to kick off. I also switched things around, sending one of my midfielders into a striker position now that we have more good options up front. Dad and I clashed for the first time in a couple of seasons in the League Cup group stage, but both sides got to showcase their new systems. However, it was my Queen of the South side that came up on top as Grant Savory banged in a hat-trick. The season was underway though, and for both of us it was incredibly hit or miss with the games that we were playing, with one major highlight being my Irish striker Mellier, who was taking the league by storm, scoring 6 goals in 5 games so far. Well, Dad, I took a trip to Ireland, it seems.
Yeah.
Got a couple of players from there. I think the standout was obviously the 700k I spent on Mason Mellier. He looks a really good
for 19,
striker.
looks very good, doesn't he?
Yeah, so hopefully he can score me some goals this season. Obviously, we did sell Adam Brooks for £1.4 million. He finally left, Adam Brooks. But I think selling him for that, considering he wasn't actually a star player, and the amount of players that I brought in for that price, I think was good. Because Neil Lynch also came in from Cork City, a good centre midfielder, again only 19 from Ireland. Not very good technically, but the rest of him looks absolutely fine.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah, Noah Ganhouse was another backup option for that striker position. And we got a really good free transfer at the end there, which was like a defender who can also play left back. So not bad at all, really, picking him up from Saudi Arabia on a free transfer. We'll take that. Now, tactically, the 4-1-4-1 has been kind of transformed into a 4-4-2 because we need to make use of the amount of good strikers that we now have. We've got 3 good ones, so we might as well play 2 up top and allow Davis and Lynch to be the 2 centre midfielders, and hopefully this will be enough to keep us in the division, maybe even push into that top half, so when the split happens we'll be in the top half, but who knows. I still think our wing-backs and our goalkeepers just not there yet in terms of that, but we'll have to see. I mean, the start of the season, I did beat Hibs and Hearts, which is good. I lost to Celtic and Rangers, but the Kilmarnock game was a disappointing one, considering we were like 2-1 up, 3-2 up, and then they scored 2 late goals. So that is a frustration. We also played Dad at the start of the season and beat him 4-3 too. So let's have a look at yours then, Dad. You've brought in some good players, to be fair, for your level, and there's a bit of a system change as well.
Yeah, well, I'm struggling in this league at the moment, so I've got to try and get out of it. I feel like I've got to make myself a little bit harder to beat. So I've got a few defenders in and changing the formation that I'm playing as well. So
yeah,
this is the first guy I got in. I thought 23 for this guy, really good. Centre defender.
Oh, he's like your new leader by the looks of it. He's the guy who's going to be winning games for you on the pitch.
So after that, I've got in.
Caden Wilson came in from Chelsea.
In that sort of same position as well. So that's 2 centre defenders I've got in that I feel was going to be a little bit stronger than what I actually had.
Yeah.
And this guy, it doesn't look great, but for what was available out there, for the position that I need, because obviously I'm changing formation now, and that's the position I need him to play in, that wing-back position. That was the best I could get. So it's better than playing him there than rather than...
Don't tell him that. I'd be a bit demotivated.
I didn't have anybody that could play in that position. So it was a case that I had to get someone, and he was the best that I could get in for that position. I mean, the other wing-back on the left side, he's actually a better midfield player, but he can play in that position. A little bit of training, I think, and he'll be all right in that position. So yeah,
so you switch to your classic 3 up front, but with more of a 5-back formation.
Yeah, I didn't want to change the going forward. You can't win a game unless you score a goal. So, and I got good strikers up there. So hopefully they'll do the business for me. But the defence and the midfield will sort of like stop the goals from going in, and hopefully I can get up the league.
All right, well, by the looks of it, at the start of the season, you have struggled a little bit. Yeah. You've only won 2 of the championship games so far against Arbroath and Dundee.
Yeah.
A couple of bad losses there where you haven't scored goals for somebody who just said we're going to be attacking.
It's one of those. I feel in this league, it's a bit like the championship in the English league. It's a very hard league, and teams will beat other teams. So I'm just hoping that really, all right, I've lost a couple already, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, I'll be beating the teams above me as well. So because there's a few good teams I feel in this league that possibly should be in your league, really.
Usually are, yeah. The likes of St Mirren, Dundee United, Hearts, of course.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard for me.
Hearts is in my league. That's a friendly.
St Mirren,
but St Mirren certainly. Dundee's.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. So it's going to be hard to get out of this league, but hopefully I can do it.
All right, well, let's see if you join me at the end of this season, or am I going to spend a 3rd and 4th year without Dad joining me? Let's find out. Well, to be fair, I needed to make sure I wasn't joining in with some of the results I was having. But after Dad's inconsistent start, Eamon Brophy's goal started to turn things around for Dad, helping him go on an unbeaten run for about 2.5 months and keeping him 13 points clear of 5th place, which isn't the playoff spots. Although I was looking safe from the drop for now, I was disappointed we couldn't climb higher in the league, ending up in the bottom half of the league split, but never in any danger of going down. But Dad's Alloa side carried on with a strong, consistent finish and in the playoff spots for promotion, defeating Ross County 4-1 on aggregate in the first round of the playoffs, with St Mirren to play next. And in the first leg, it was a cracking performance from Alloa as they were victorious 3-1 on the night, with a 1-0 second leg win, with Dad progressing through to face a team from the league above in a relegation playoff to try and get himself promoted. And a cagey first leg at home, with neither side being able to score, had Dad feeling anxious. But then a second leg performance as Alloa picked up a 3-2 victory, with Eamon Brophy scoring a worldy overhead kick for one of his 2 goals on the night. Well, Dad, you got through via the playoffs, the Premiership relegation playoff.
Yep.
Against Falkirk. You can see there I'm in 8th place. I was comfortable. I wasn't anywhere near the drop zone. It's just a shame I didn't get anywhere close to the top. But Alloa Athletic going up with Rafe Rovers. You weren't actually that far off them, to be fair.
No,
only 5 points.
Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, I've lost 8 games, but I drew 10. That's where I think I lost it a little bit. So can't afford to draw that amount of games, really.
The 3 at the back gave you the most clean sheets by a lot as well, by the way. So defensively, you were solid.
Yeah.
Eamon Brophy even managed to get 17 goals. So I'd definitely say you deserve to go up. I think that's without being... I mean, St Mirren, without them 69 points, I think you deserve to because of the clean sheets and everything like that. But St Mirren, a couple of their players are knocking around here. I mean, he looks fantastic. Average rating, this guy here. So they've done quite well, and they're going to be staying in that league.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're up there now. You're in the top division with the big boys.
This is where the hard work starts now.
This is where the hard work starts. I mean, you're already losing your top scorer. Yeah. He wants to leave on a free transfer. He isn't sticking around.
His mind. No, tried changing his mind, seeing we got promoted, but nope, not interested.
Not at all. But transfer budget-wise, you haven't really been given anything. So...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, as we have seen so far, my transfer budget is silly and stupid, and that is because, of course, of a Tycoon takeover that happened throughout the season. I mean, if we are going by what we would want to happen, that's kind of not what we want to happen, because we wanted to keep it on even Stevens. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Because then I get to spend loads of money. So, hey, these things happen in the game, can't be changed. I've just got really good luck in terms of that. But Queen of the South are now rich in terms of the Scottish League. So £17 million to spend. There's no way I'm going to be able to spend all that. You would. I know you would find a way. But Mason Malia with 19 goals. Owusu with 16 as well. And Ben Davies with 14. So get a good amount of goals. But how many of those are going to stick around now that I've got money to buy new players, new shiny players, and hopefully they'll be better than the ones I've already got, because £17 million. I mean, I do feel a bit sorry for you, because you're coming into this league with literally zero. And I have 17 million, and I know I'm not going to be able to spend it.
I mean, I'm looking for free transfers again, but I possibly can't get very many in because of the wage budget not being very high. And I don't want to lose any players, to be honest with you, because I've only got a small squad anyway. So yeah,
I mean, you haven't. In some ways, there's a lot of youngsters in here.
That's the problem. The youngsters they're not. You just can't put them in this league and hope that you're going to survive, can you?
No, if you're looking at these players here, they are dreadful.
Yeah.
That little cluster there. So that and those bottom ones there. Yeah, you don't have a large first team squad.
No.
So you're going to have to do something in this transfer window. I mean, there are some players wanted, but I know what you're like. You don't like selling players at this point, which sometimes can put you in a bit of a hole. But hey, we'll have to see. This summer is going to be an interesting one, because I've got loads to spend, and it obviously depends what you decide to do.
Yeah.
But you are in the league now.
I'm going to pray.
Yeah.
Hope for a miracle.
You're in the right league,
yeah,
though.
that's right, yeah.
Anything can happen when you're in the right league. You got
right.
You can't win a ticket. No, you can't win the raffle unless you don't buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So you've bought yourself a ticket. You're in the top flight. Let's see if you can do any damage while you're here. After my board takeover, I needed to take advantage and try to get more resources and staff members. So I went and hired some more scouts to make sure I had a better chance of discovering talent around Europe, and that also included upping my scouting budget to allow my scouts to do so. Dad began the summer bringing in a defensive midfielder to give him better options in there, and I had a similar idea as I brought in Tyler Fletcher, a decent defensive midfielder from Shrewsbury. Of course, now with my big budgets, I'm able to splash a bit more, and I spent £1.2 million on a wingback. More signings for Dad, though, as a defensive midfielder comes in for him, as well as a really good striker on loan from Hibs. I spent another £2 million bringing in an 18-year-old winger from Kilmarnock, with bags of potential who will become my first choice right winger this season. And once again, I thought I'd ask the board to improve some of the facilities as well as the youth recruitment network. And to their credit, they accepted 2 out of the 3 requests that we made, which will naturally improve things at the club in the long run. My scouts came to me recommending the top scorer from the division below last season in Kieran Offord, and he could be exactly what we need, so I sorted out a deal of an upfront payment of £2 million and St Mirren accept. And as one comes in, Owusu could be leaving finally, as a big bid comes in from him that I am definitely willing to accept, as I'm not sure he gets into our first team now. The season is underway though, and it's been a rather weird start, as the goal you just seen was a 94th minute winner over Celtic. Dad's first game of the season though was a bad loss against Hedronians, but then he flipped that all around by going unbeaten throughout a few games, including drawing to Celtic after scoring in the opening minute. On the pitch things were all good, but there was a lot of action off of it, as I signed 2 new players and lost Melia, who signed for Porto for just £2 million after a terrific one season for me. Alright Dad, let's have a look at what you've been up to first, because I think it's going to be probably a lot quicker than when we talk about what I've been up to with my £17 million. I mean, Mitch Clark has come in on a free transfer, somebody you can play on both flanks. You did, to be fair, you did have an active window.
Yeah.
Not a penny was spent. And you did bring in a loan signing, which is probably going to be your main striker now.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. You just needed better caliber of a striker, and this guy's going to be it for me, so hopefully he can score the goals for me, really.
Yeah, he's got 2 already for you.
Yeah.
You're kind of sticking to what you were rocking with last season.
Yeah.
to try and stay in the league.
Well, that's what I'm going to try and do, and I've dropped one player back from the strike force into the attacking midfield, just to give the midfield a little bit more protection, really, and hopefully the new guy will score the goals.
Yeah, a bit of link-up play is what you need to drop him in for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Give him a bit of link-up play, and then you can still be part of the front three. But yeah, in this division, obviously you're not going to be one of the strongest. In fact, far from it.
No,
so you kind of need men behind the ball, and then have him to be in those spots.
Yeah, I've just got. It's all about survival. This season for me.
I mean, defensively, last season was fantastic for you.
Yeah,
so
I could be good enough.
Yeah, right now you're actually in second. So if you've come in and all of a sudden has been amazing, you lost the first game to Adronians, which is mental really, because then you went on a great run. You even drew to Celtic away from home
what a result
after Connor Aitken scored in the first minute. So you've had some great results as well, beating Kilmarnock, Hibs and Motherwell.
Yeah.
And then we are actually about to play next as well. So let's have a quick look then, let's see what I've been up to, because as I mentioned, a lot of money. And I mean, I've got some other players coming in. Lewis Strapp, who is in a Scandinavian club right now. He's coming in soon as a left wing back, Scottish as well. And I've got 12 million remaining. So compared to where we started, about 5 million was all I actually spent from the actual transfer budget. But I think a lot of money, you can't really spend that. And well, to be fair, there was so much wage budget as well. And I sold Owusu for 8 million. I mean, why couldn't I have done that when I was looking for the money?
That's right, yeah.
When you got it, more turns up. I also lost Mason Melia right at the end of the season for £2 million, which is heartbreaking in some ways as well, because I didn't get time to replace him, unfortunately. I had already bought somebody in, so I do have enough strikers. But Mason Melia's gone straight to Casapia on loan from Porto. So we are going to be without him, who was our top scorer last season, both our strikers, for £10 million. So coming in, we've got the likes of Tommy Conway, who's coming in as £4 million signing from Stoke. But I think we've seen him at the end of last season, which is the reason why I thought, gotta go for him. My scouts rated him quite highly as well, as Kieran Offord from St Mirren. When we seen him, I was like, whoa. My scouts had already lined him up for me. Great pace, acceleration, and composure off the ball, finishing ability. It's all there.
Yeah.
Hasn't scored a single goal for me yet in 6 games. Brilliant.
He ain't got injured. Normally does, doesn't he?
That's true. Yeah. Willie Watson. He's got his injured.
There you go.
I've injured my Willie at the start of the game. So it always happens.
I'm not going there.
Ligament damage in my Willie. So yeah, he's out at the start of the season. I just love, right? I love the thought of like some blokes watching this on their telly, and their missus just scrolling through their phone, and then hears me go, I've injured my Willie, and they're like, what are you watching? I love that thought. So if that's happened to you, you're welcome. Having to explain what I'm talking about. So at least we're not talking about breasts and stuff.
No.
That makes a change too. Billy Cumisio is a very good centre-back that I've brought in, who you approached. And it was like, you can't afford me financially, pal. And you're like, fair enough. And then I approached him and he wanted 19k. So he got 19k. But I do think I picked up a couple of bargains here, because I went to ASAC Mimosas, who everybody knows, if you've been playing Foot Manager for a while, is the place to go if you want young Ivorian wonder kids. And this is the one that I picked up. I mean, on that left-hand side, 350k. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists. Cracking player.
Very good.
Very good player.
Yeah.
Piorot Akuoko nailed it as well. We're on first name terms. Now, the Jimmy Dunn also signed in the January, so he came in at centre-back. But I got my goalkeeper on a free transfer, so I didn't just go splashing cash for the sake of it. I still went for bargain picks, I think. And James Maxwell on that left-hand side, 300k was another one. I got this guy for £1.2 million at right back. He's also injured, so happens. Darren Fletcher's kid, Tyler, brought him in for 325k. He's English on this. Darren Fletcher must be livid. Josh Hart as well for £2.1 million from Kilmarnock. A really good right midfielder that could be a good option for us. And then another £1.6 million there. So some good players coming in.
So I think you had a good transfer window, really.
Yeah, I think in some ways, I would like to have just gone, all right, just 2 big transfers. My squad wasn't good enough for that.
No.
That's what I normally like to do when I've got like big money in the league that I'm in. You just bring 1 or 2 huge players in, which it naturally just improves your side. My squad's not good enough. Maybe in the next season if I manage to keep out a lot of these players. But tactically, we have slightly altered it as well. We've gone for a 4-4-2, but with my 2 DMs. I didn't play that well last season. I kind of scraped by, and I think the quality of my players just got me into safety. Whereas this season, we need to get into that top half, I think.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that unless we try and be a little bit smart. So I'm going for a defensive formation and just hope the likes of Offord up front can do some damage. Now, we've already seen Dad second. I'm in 5th because I've actually had a good start to the season. I lost to Hibs, and I've got a couple of silly draws. Rafe and Kilmarnock, 2 0-0s at the start of the season, and then St Johnstone 0-0. If only I brought in a good striker, I might have picked up some more points. I lost 6 points there because not one of my strikers could score a goal. But what we did do was beat Celtic 3-2 in the 94th minute with my Ivorian wonder kid, Akuoko, scoring a goal there. So that's really good. It's just whether that can continue. So I'm trying to get into the top half of this Premiership. You're trying to survive in this Premiership. The season preview does put you at 800 to 1 down there. But I am in the top half.
Yes.
I mean, for me, that would be the perfect scenario towards the end of the season. Dad gets relegated. I sneak into the top half. But we'll see. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that. So let's find out. Of course, we played each other in the following fixture, and Dad took the lead with a rocket of a strike, but my Queen of the South Side got back into the game, and the scoreline finished 1-1, which was also the score when we played each other again in November. However, our schedules were looking very different compared to our games against each other on the pitch, as Dad had a real bad run at one point, but still sits in a safe 9th place as I'm pushing for European football. Dad picked up just 2 more wins in the regular season though, and of course one of them was against me. I actually managed to get to the League Cup final at Hampden Park, but unfortunately we lost to Celtic. There were some cracking wins this season for me though, including another 3-0 win over Celtic in the Premiership. Dad's form was not very good, but neither was the teams around him in the bottom, and the late win against St Johnstone secured their fate of being relegated, while it actually helped Dad just survive the playoff drop as I was securing a 4th place finish. Well, that is a great season for you, really.
I'm really happy with that. I mean, it's only 3 points I just scraped in, but yeah, I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, first season back in. Got 7 wins in total across the season. You beat me in one of them, so
good, but yeah, I'll take it.
You are welcome, because with that win, you stayed up.
Yeah.
I might have Europa League football next year.
Very good.
Hey, the first one of us to get into Europe. But I do have some glaringly obvious problems in my team. We'll address that in a second. Now, we're finally at a position where we can kind of look at the competitions page and go, oh, how do we do the cups? Because normally we're like in the second tier, and we know that we're not going to get any further. You did get very far in the Premier Sports Cup, but 5th round by Celtic in the Scottish Cup isn't too bad, to be honest.
I mean, you don't expect to beat Celtic, really, do you?
No.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look at your squad then. So Aitken, who was the lonely, got 13 goals, and then Lewis Dobby with 9. It's not huge amounts of goals.
You can understand why I am where I am.
Yeah.
By that sort of 9 goals.
And right now, there's not a lot of money being fluttered around your bank balance.
They're not going to help me, are they?
To bring transfers in, because you are in the minus, in the red as well. So possibly selling a player or 2 will help that. Now, my Queen of the South Side, who of course are really rich. At one point, we had £31 million in the bank. They have given me another 10 million, by the way, to the next season, which I still don't know how I'm going to be able to spend that. But we did get to the cup final and lost to Celtic, which is such a shame. And in this, you can see Malia was one of my top scorers. Yeah, obviously he left the club because at the start of the season, so never mind. None of my other players managed to get anywhere close to that. And the top scorer of my whole team was my centre-back with 15. We mentioned how he was good, but I think we've obviously been very good on set pieces and the near post corners, which, by the way, we both use, all right? Everybody always mentions it. We both use it. Kieran Offord got 10 and 11. Great amount of assists.
Yeah.
But Kieran, I brought you to score goals, pal. And you only got 10 of them. 1 in 4. For £2 million? I was expecting more. Looking at his attributes, I was expecting a lot more. So, I don't know. Give him a season or two. Hopefully, he can pay us back with a lot more. 18 assists as well from Akuoka. We've seen, obviously, his good start to the season. The 19-year-old, bit of development in there. But I think, you know, to be fair, my 2 Irish guys are looking really good. They're looking good now. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. The £10 million, I'm kind of lucky. I think we might need to make a few alterations if we want to stick around and challenge in Europe, maybe, but at least in the cinch Premiership. Because the 4th place finish is great, but if we had a good goal scorer, we could be up there, knocking on the door of Rangers and Celtic alongside Aberdeen.
I mean, 13 points is a lot of points still to make up, really, isn't it? Because that's the top 3 you would expect to be there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you've done the best you could possibly do.
For now,
for that team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I lost 1 game of the season against you, Dad. I think you lost a couple in the other one. So let's check the fixtures against each other, because we had a draw in there as well. That's where I lost against you there. We played each other 3 times. It was 2 draws and a loss. So you did all right in that regard. We didn't get to play each other the 4th time because Dad was in the relegation group while I was in the Premiership group. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, another £10 million to spend in the transfer budget. Whereas you're scratching your ass for a penny.
I've got a couple of free transfers coming in again, I think.
That's it. I'm just going to keep asking for better training facilities, asking for more staff, because these are the things that are really going to help build this team and build this club, to be honest. I did last time. We were up to 6 scouts now, but the transfers and the scouting recommendations are going to be a lot better because of that within a year or 2. So hopefully it comes up to the point where I can really start pushing for those top 2 spots. Yes, well, Dad is finally in the league that we need to be in. I could be knocking on the door of the old firm clubs very soon. It took Dad a while, but he finally gained promotion to the Scottish Prem, joining me in the league after a few seasons apart. But he's still got some catching up to do, as I'm knocking on the door already of the top 2 in the following season. Of course, this is helped by that big Tycoon takeover I received at Queen of the South. For now, though, his sole focus is staying in the division. However, can he turn things around and win the race to the Scottish Prem? Unfortunately for Dad, I was about to make things a lot trickier because my resources allowed my scouting range to be much better than his, and I was finding some fantastic talents from Africa that I could afford to bring over. Like last time, I went to the board and I made some requests about the staff, hoping for more scouts and coaching team, as well as improving the training facilities. And the board was willing to help and accepted my requests. I brought in a new striker from Kilmarnock as well, as I looked to target the best young talents in Scotland before Celtic and Rangers take them. But a good mix of different signings, I think, is what's best for me right now, and this midfielder could easily become a first-team defensive midfielder. Dad finally brought in his first player, and it was an Ecuadorian goalkeeper who he picked up on a free transfer, and it's a good signing. Is this a better one, though? As again, on a free transfer, he signs Taylor Richards off of me, after Taylor was causing me some trouble because he had to match the highest earner clause in his contract. Annoyingly again, a release clause is activated for one of my best players, as Lynch signs with Rangers. And while other bids are coming in, I am open to selling certain players, but absolutely want to keep hold of others, including Akuoka. After all, he's a crucial player and helped with an assist in the 1-1 draw at Celtic Park on the opening day. Dad's transfers have gone quiet, but he's starting the season off with a win. I was hoping my transfers would go quiet too. However, Akuoka's release clause was activated, with the upside of them loaning him back for me to the end of the season. Either way, it meant I could spend that money and bringing on a very good defensive midfielder. Well, I mean, at least I get him for another season.
Yes, that's ideal, isn't it?
But it's just annoying that it will only be for that one season. I mean, I made a huge profit on him, so I can't be too mad, but my trip to the Ivory Coast for 350k for Akuku definitely paid off. £9.7 million, nearly £10 million, and I get him for another year. It's just annoying that it's one of those things that as a smaller club, you can't put your foot down. I mean, he doesn't look amazing. I don't know why Chelsea are even looking to sign him, really. I don't think he's ever going to turn into a Premier League player. But there we go. It was £9 million. I can't argue too much about that. It has meant that I've been able to spend a little bit of money. So, I mean, Buckley comes in. Carnell Buckley, good 20-year-old centre defensive midfielder. Not a bad player whatsoever. And I overspent, really, £6.25 million after, he come from Airdronians, who we know have a bit of money in this league as well. They are splashing the cash, and sometimes they're doing quite well with it. But at the minute, it does look like they're in a bit of financial trouble. But maybe because they were just overspending everywhere else.
Yeah.
But there we go. So I brought those 2 players in. Outside of that, I'm really struggling to actually spend the money. I mean, Lewis Strapp comes in on a free transfer. We've seen that was going to happen midway through the season. But Bob Mackey was the first one. Gives me an extra striker. I just love that. Like, some of the new gen names are just really ridiculous. Bob Mackey. It doesn't sound Scottish at all. Like, that's I know it's 2 Scottish names, but when you say his name together, it sounds American.
The way you'd say it does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was already doing a Scottish accent. My American accent. So Bob Mackey joins. Decent striker for this level. Not amazing, but certainly not bad. But £5 million, probably an overspend. My thinking is, we get rid. I take all of the clubs around us best players.
Best way to do it sometimes,
Yeah.
if you can do it.
Because I can't exactly take them from Celtic and Rangers.
No.
So if I beat them to signing these players, then we could be in with a shot. So went back to Ivory Coast, of course, and bought my guy. 21-year-old left back, good player to be fair. So in 2 years' time, he'll be in a Chelsea shirt. Then we got Vuk Pervicevic, decent player to be fair. 21 years of age. Now, obviously, I'm playing DMs. I think he can still play DMs. He's got great attributes for it. Just needs some game time in there, I think. But the Montenegrin international with 28 caps there. Then we've got Chuck Buebeka, who I think is my best signing of the summer. I think he's fantastic.
Does look good, yeah.
The pace and acceleration, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Decent defending attributes. 14 for passing as well.
2-footed as well, so even better.
Only 20 years of age. Again, the hardest bit is going to be holding on to him.
Definitely, yeah.
He has a release clause of £3.6
You can already
million.
see him in a Chelsea shirt, can you?
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Blues
He's already
already
worth as
They're
much
gonna
as
change the
what.
badge.
Yeah, he's already worth as much as what I actually his value is now. And then finally, Murray Johnson, a good goalkeeper to be fair from Hibernian, as my backup because he hasn't really played, hasn't really developed. My goalkeeper at the minute is slightly better. So tactically, we're going with the 4-4-2 that we've got with a Segundo Volante and the DM in there. The DLF, Mackey and Offord now up front. So I've got a Scottish strike force, which I quite like as well. Like Offord, I think is really good. And Mackey is obviously going to be new to the game. But we've got quite a lot of Scottish players in there, and I'm happy with that. I've also got like a weird like African mix as we go down the left-hand side of my centre-backs there. And I think even Mai is from an African descent. I know he's Spanish, but yeah, Equatorial. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of an African sort of partnership at the back here, so that's good. Schedule at the start of the season, I haven't played you yet. I'm not too pleased with how it's gone. There's a few games, Hearts and Dundee United, where I feel like we should be winning that. Also didn't qualify for Europe, and the fact that we're 3-0 up against Kairat,
Yeah.
or Kairat, and then lost 4-1 and then on penalties is really heartbreaking. Because the Europa Conference League, when I lost
Third
the
away,
Europa
innit?
League one, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
could get quite far in that one. But apparently not. So there we go. You've had a lot less of a busier window, Dad, than me.
Yeah.
Just 2 players in.
The
One of
board-
them was mine.
The board are not backing me, so I had to just take what was available really on freebies and things like that. So I had to get a keeper in.
Yeah.
So this was the best I could get in. He's not bad. I think you.
Gilmar Napa.
Yeah, I think you'll go to my first keeper. As
Brother
well.
of Aya. And then from Ecuador, decent keeper. Taylor Richards, Queen of the South, had a good couple of years with me.
Yeah.
I was over the moon when you took him from me. And the reason why is because when I gave him a contract, he had a match highest earners clause. Then I had the Tycoon takeover and sign in players. So his wage at one point was like 21 grand, and he is not a 21 grand player, and yet he accepted 2.6 for you.
There you go, is he?
So it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I've made enough money now.
Yeah.
I
think he knew he wasn't going to be playing for you, so he took the next best thing and played for me.
Yeah. So how many games did he play last season?
I'm pleased that I've took him.
27.
He's not brilliant, but he's good from my team.
Yeah,
so,
he's decent for your side.
so
I mean,
free-
you're only just coming up.
Yeah,
So
so a free signing, playing in that one position would be ideal for me in there. Yeah, attacking midfielder.
yeah, you got a
so-
couple of players in there. Obviously,
Yeah.
you switched it around from last season. The last season obviously was a difficult one.
Yeah, I've got to be really careful this time. I've got to make sure I don't concede so many goals. So I'm trying to make it a little bit more harder to beat me now. So I've dropped the 2 DMs in now, and hopefully I'll make it a bit bit harder to score against, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I got hope for, really. I'm not looking like it. I mean, please be halfway up the table or something like that, just to sort of, I'm not in a lot of trouble. So
that is where you are right now as well. I mean,
yeah.
you've lost heavily to Rangers there and Dronians, but a win against Dundee United 2-0.
Dundee as well, that's a good result as well. So yeah, or should I say at Dundee United's ground? I better say that because I know what you fans are like. So about that,
and then an away trip to Aberdeen.
I mean, two games against Aberdeen there, and then coming off better out of the 2 games. So I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, means that you're in 8th place in the table after 4 games. Definitely take that. Kieran Orford, though, top of the league in terms of goals so far with 4. Considering I've only won one of those games, that's not bad at all. All right, let's crack on. Season number 7 then. We're both in the Scottish Premiership now, but can either of us do any damage there? Well, we finally clashed against each other in October, and it was my Queen of the South Side who picked up the 3 points. We also managed to get to the final of the League Cup after a semi-final win against Dronians. Unfortunately for us in the final, though, we faced Celtic and lost 1-0. Dad and I clashed again in December, and it was a 0-0 until the 95th minute when I pinched the win. Just 4 victories going into the new year for Dad's Alloa side, and he is flirting with those relegation spots. Meanwhile, I am only a point behind Celtic in 2nd place, while Rangers have opened up a gap at the top. In the 3rd fixture between us, though, it was another Queen of the South win. But with Dad getting just 2 more wins going into the relegation group from Christmas, he currently sits in the relegation playoff spot. And then he went and drew 3 times 0-0 and a couple of more losses, and Dad couldn't save his side now, and he has to play Dundee in the survival playoff. On the other side of things, I was very happy. I was in 3rd place finish and potentially got European football again next season. Dad was dying for a win, but got yet another 0-0 draw in the first leg playoff. Even then in the second leg had only 1 goal being scored, but for the relief of Dad, it came from an Alloa shirt. Well, very chalk and cheese season.
Oh dear. Finally won a game when I really needed to win a game, and that was
the skin of your teeth.
The very last game, yeah. I mean, I've probably done Dundee United fans a big favour because it was nearly a complete swap there with the 2 Dundee teams. So
especially after the 0-0 first leg, and then having to go away from home.
Yeah, so I'll take that. I've survived with the skin of my teeth. I don't know how I haven't lost my job. I don't know. No, I'm lucky there. I think I got away with that one.
Yeah, that's only 24 points across the season. You've done quite well to manage to survive there.
Trying to make myself a little bit harder to beat, and they were just scoring goals against me for fun, some of them. So
somebody's going to be tinkering over the summer. 3rd place, though. Europa League finish.
Yeah, well done.
So I think I've got to qualify now. I think I'll go in a higher qualification spot, but not too bad at all. 68 points, still some way off Rangers and Celtic. We're not quite there.
Yeah, you're a long way behind them, but I think the biggest achievement there is getting in front of Aberdeen. You've done it by 2 points, and Hibs really, they 2 points as well. So there's always a top 3. I mean, the top 2's obvious, but getting into that 3rd place is going to be hard because you got a couple of teams there, the Aberdeen and Hibs and all that. They're always going to be there or thereabouts. So yeah. I think that's a good achievement. The biggest downside, I think, is going to be the fact that Okuku, who is obviously going to Chelsea, is even better, as you say. He was one of the highest average rating and one of the most player of the matches because he had 19 assists this season, which was 9 more than any Celtic player, which was 2nd. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we'll have to be saying goodbye to him. We're going to have to find a replacement for him. But Kieran Orford, who is very much still my player and doesn't have a release clause, so I can dictate when he leaves. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He was the 2nd top scorer in the league behind Danny Namaso of Rangers. So for now, we're all good. We've just got to find some replacements. But hopefully, the board has given me some money. They've given you nothing at the minute, Dad.
Not even a wage.
You owe them money, if anything.
No.
In terms of my set, 7.95 million. That's enough for me to get a couple of players. Sorry, we're rubbing it in, but
oh dear.
It is. In terms of the other competitions, though, quarterfinals by Hibs for you, Dad. 4th round by East 5, who's nowhere near. They're in League 1. They're the league we began in, and they knocked you out. So that wasn't good. But I guess in other things, you had bigger priorities of staying in the division more than anything. And I was the runners-up by Celtic.
Unlucky.
Runners-up. Yeah. Unfortunate there, but there we go. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes in quarterfinals in the Scottish Cup. So, now go into the Europa Conference. Oh no, obviously we were knocked out of the Europa Conference. We now go into the Europa League qualification to hopefully qualify for Europe next season and bring in a bit of money. Now, my Queen of the South Side had offered as the top scorer. Tommy Conway was second there. Didn't play as many games as what I thought he might because Bob Mackey played more and scored less. Come on, Bob. So my 3 Scottish strikers there not doing the job, but there we go. Willie Watson. Not bad progression there for 21. He's progressed a little bit, played a little bit as well. I think I just need to keep hold of people like my guy and my Chuck Uebueka. I wish they just had easier names to say. But yeah, we need to keep hold of players like that and make sure we don't lose those players. Keep them at our club. Carry us up into the top 2. That's the best thing for me. Dad, your Alloa side got 11 goals from my player that you bought off me, Taylor Richards.
Well good done. Signing, really.
Yeah. Lewis Dobby got 10. You need that goal scorer.
Yeah, it's screaming at me, really, isn't it? But I just haven't got the £10, £11 to buy a player, have I? So
£10. Can't even pay any of their wages right now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know whether they... -5 is getting worse. But I also think, like, how do you solve that?
I don't know.
It's one of those things, like, because you have to buy better players.
Yeah.
You can't, not do that.
You look at the value of my players there. I mean, it's just...
Your new goalkeeper, you have to sell him straight. I mean, you do enjoy buying goalkeepers.
I do, but once you get
it's something you do like doing.
He's an half-decent goalkeeper, and I don't want to be selling him, though. I mean, $2.5 million, all right. I probably could buy another keeper and might get one on freebie again, and it gives me, $2 million to spend on a player, if that. $1.5 million, probably. Time you wipe out the bit of debt that I have got there.
Yeah, but you do have 100% of your transfer revenue, so that's a positive.
I don't know.
All right, well, let's have a look then. What happens across the summer? What happened was Dad was called into a meeting immediately about his job, and if it wasn't for him begging for another chance, I think he might have been sacked. For now, he survives then and begins bringing in funds by accepting offers for some of his players. I, on the other hand, was bringing in Spinache as I looked to improve my team ready for European football. A free transfer from Turkey then became available that I was overjoyed to bring in because at just 18, the guy looks absolutely fantastic. And while Dad couldn't really spend as much, or anything for that matter, he was still bringing in a striker in Tony Weston, who has scored 52 goals for Derby County. To replace Akuoko, who leaves me permanently now after his loan spell, I signed Mora from Rangers on a free transfer, as well as a defensive midfielder from Celtic at a really good price as he was transfer listed. But the season is about to be underway, and guess who we have in our first game? An immediate clash with Dad's Alloa side, which is where Dad will be putting his new system for a spin for the very first time. Although sometimes the system can't stop goals just like this. A frustrating 4-0 loss for Dad, but an even more frustrating injury for my new signing Mora. As in the first game of the season, he's out for half of the season after breaking his foot on his debut. An even more annoying situation then occurred on deadline day, as Celtic stole probably the best player in the league, my centre-back, off of me for just £3.6 million. Well, I knew it would happen with that release clause, but the little Jimmy on deadline day, give me a chance to find a replacement, because now my best player has gone to our rival Celtic, the team we're trying to overcome, and look how bloody good he is.
Yeah, that's such a shame, isn't it?
Look how good he is.
So
after just that one season of growth.
2 seasons you lost your best 2 players, really, haven't
you? Yeah, he played 3 games, buggered off to Celtic for £3.6 million. And the trouble is, like, people say, well, don't give them release clauses then. Some of them will refuse to sign for you unless you give them that release clause. Yeah. You have to put it in their contracts. So you rather get the player in with a release clause than not get him in at all. And players like that, I had to bring him in for that release clause. It just so happens, obviously, that somebody... He needs 18 acceleration, 15 pace. He's perfect for this league. Because he's so fast and he can pass. Oh, I'm gutted, but can't replace him. I have got options at centre-back, so it's not the end of the world. It's just very much close to it. I reckon it was because I signed their player, but he was transfer listed. So if anything, I did them a favour and ended up funding them signing my player. Because Ronnie Borgia from Celtic, I needed a new DM. Ecuadorian as well, like your goalkeeper, Dad. Maybe they're best pals. But Ronnie Borgia comes in. Good player in that position for me. So that I tried to get a couple of players, but I didn't have enough money. And then when I seen he was transfer listed for the price of just 300k, I thought that was definitely worth it. A free transfer in this man Fatih, who plays on the right-hand side, but he's actually quite slim, if anything. It's just a Turkish name. Now, he's quite a good winger with good pace acceleration.
Yep.
His release clause is a lot higher.
That's not bad. You don't mind that, do
That's
you?
right. If Celtic come in for 13 million, I'll go, you carry on, fella.
You have him, yeah. Definitely.
You are fat. But he's a decent right winger for me, so that's good. Now, outside of that, I only actually made 2 other signings because I didn't have as much money as what they have been giving me recently. Spinache, £3.5 million. I thought I'd take a gamble on a foreign striker coming in who's got good technical abilities. I think he's quite good. I mean, he's only scored 1 in 4 so far, but he was at Empoli in Serie B. It's always hard because I still don't have the reputation right now to sign the best players. I'm only a 3-star reputation. So all these like future wonder kids, I can see them. They just don't want to speak to me. So we're at that kind of stage right now, and I can afford them as well. Francisco Mora, I thought, what a signing this is going to be on a free transfer from Rangers. Bang, breaks his leg.
Normal procedure for you then?
The curse is back.
Yeah.
How many times do I sign a new player and they break something in August?
Yeah.
And we can't use them for half the season. So that's my transfer window. Done and dusted. We're sticking with the same tactic. We did so well last year. We're sticking with the same tactic. And at the minute, we are top. Now, we played each other in the first game of the season. Beat you 4-0, Dad.
I didn't need that, did I?
I know. I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm not. I'm also in Europa League, knocked out Malmo in that competition, so that's fantastic. Got Europa League football for the first time in any European football, I'm guessing, for Queen of the South. And I've got some tricky fixtures, but I do think there is a small chance I could get through to the next round, you know.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of games, even like the first 3 there, I reckon I could pick up a couple of wins there.
You got to win.
Maybe against Ludogorets.
Those last 2 are very hard for you, I think.
Yeah,
That's the ones where you got to get the job done before you get there.
Exactly. But it's a possibility.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go. Now, looking at your side of things, Dad, you signed just 2 players. The board weren't allowed. Yeah, I mean, you sold somebody as well, which makes it worse. For 175k, only could bring in 2 free transfers to the point where you had a minus budget. You couldn't even offer any more players.
No.
So that's how bad it was. But Ed Turns has joined. Good centre back. Good option for you, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to stop the goals on it somewhere. So let's get this guy in.
Good passer of the ball. Brings the ball out of defence.
I do like
as well.
playing a ball playing defender more than anything else. So I always do look for that sort of thing, really. So yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, Ed's joined. And then Tony Weston from Derby County, English striker. You mentioned you need a new striker. This is a good one, I think.
Yeah, I think he is as well. So fingers really crossed for those 2 players that I bought that can save my job, because don't think the board would like me around very much longer.
No, not after the meeting you had with them. I mean, somehow you saved your job. I thought it was going to be curtains for the whole series.
I think what it was, I just paid off the bit of a debt for them. You know, well, I won't buy anybody. I'll just pay that bit off, and I'll sell 1 player, and we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you 5 games, I think.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the new tactic,
I've got to try something, haven't I had to try something different. It didn't work last season. With the team that I had, the players that I've got, this is probably the best I can come up with, really.
Yeah.
That I'm still being a bit sort of defensive as well. But, you know, and fingers crossed, I think it's got to be with me here. I'm just praying that it's going to be good enough.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the start of the season.
It started, it isn't going to be that good, is it?
4 losses from 4 in terms of the league, and then 1 win in the cup against Falkirk.
I need a win very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't need 1-0 or anything like that's not going to be good enough, I think.
It's almost like you are too big to go down at this point, but too small to do anything in the league.
Yeah, I mean, you when the board are not even backing you and giving you any chance, I mean, what do they expect?
They can't. They're -5 in debt.
Yeah, they're going to try and give me something, though. I mean, I'm not even getting any players that's worth much, really. I mean, if I can get through this season, I might have to look like selling my keeper.
Yeah.
Because he's probably my only asset that I've got that can, give me $1.5 million to spend on a couple of players, 2 or 3 good players, and go from there and hopefully get a freebie keeper again. So
I know a lot of you are going to say, look at the loan market. You can't when they're trying to charge you
that's the problem as well.
Monthly payments.
Yeah, we tried, didn't we? So I looked at that as well. Just nothing. Well, there's a couple of players there I could have gone, but they weren't going to improve my team.
No.
it's all right having, but they put it in their contract. They got to play. So
Yeah.
I'm breaking the contract before I even start because I
just
know
recall them.
they're not good enough to be in my team.
Yeah. You're in a
So,
tricky position at the minute. But let's see if you can survive this season. Hopefully next season will be some positive things coming your way. Let's find out. Thankfully for Dad, results did pick up, and he even won 3 points when he travelled to face my Queen of the South Side in October. We were too busy having a blast in the Europa League though, as we won 5 out of our first 6 matches. Dad's form drastically improved considering he lost so many games at the start of the season, and somehow we are now next to each other in the league table again. I think I was just too starstruck to care because we finished in the league phase in the Europa League, only losing to Olympiacos and winning 7 games in second place. And in the round of 16 we pulled Monaco and somehow pulled off a 1-0 win in the first leg. In the second leg, I was devastated that we couldn't keep up with the upset, but we still did our side proud. No doubt though, it certainly affected our league form, but I wouldn't change that for now at this point, as Dad is trying to cling on to 6th place to finish in the higher league split. Unfortunately, he lost the last game of the season 6-3 before the split, but played very well in the relegation group, and he was never in any danger as we both sit in comfortable spots this season. Actually, not a bad season for you.
I'm pleased that I'm the top of that group. Disappointed I was in that group because I could have quite comfortably, quite easily had stayed in 6th. I was doing well, and all of a sudden, when it came to the end of that part where they get split into the 2 leagues, I all of a sudden went on a bad run.
Yeah.
And it dropped me into that area. Then I got caught into the relegation league then. So I was a bit disappointed I was caught in that, where I was very close to being in the top. I mean, I wouldn't have done anything in the top half, but it would have just guaranteed me from being relegated, wouldn't it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I was on a bad run.
I had a first half which was good, a second half of the season which was very bang average, and I kind of just stayed in 5th the whole time. In kind of a league of my own, I was nowhere near Hibs, who were on 41 points by the end of the season. But yeah, it's because of the European football, I'm guessing, that I had some struggles in trying to keep up. But I did all right in that European football. I mean, round of 16 by Monaco is far from where I thought I'd ever get to. 2-1 loss as well. I was 1-0 up in the first leg, which is a shame. And if you're going off of how I actually did across the whole season, finishing in the top 8, I won 7 out of those 8 games.
Brilliant.
Unbelievable, which just goes to show that we do have capabilities.
I mean, you won the last 2 games, and that was the 2 games we said would be the
Yeah.
honest games, really.
So the only game I actually lost was against Olympiacos away in Greece.
I'll take that.
Yeah, so we skipped over the knockout playoff round and went straight to the round of 16. So never mind, it's a cracking season, really, although we did slip down the league. Semi-final of the Cup, 5th round by Dundee FC, that's disappointing. But I think we were focusing on Europa League, and maybe we're a bit starstruck by the games that we were having to play and then going on to win. So maybe my Premiership season next year will be a bit better because I'm used to that type of that season.
Yeah.
Where I've got football. I just need to keep the players that are good for me right now, because we're on me right now, and we can see obviously my top scorer was Bob Mackey this year with 16 goals and 15 assists after I slagged him off last year. He's done all right this year, a little bit of growth and development as well. Billy Comutio though is there with 15, my centre back. He seems to be so good from set pieces. And then Kieran Offord only 14. I'm like, come on, Kieran, you look way better than a 14-goal season.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
But actually come in and got 13 as well, so they're all chipping in a little bit. I just need to make sure I keep hold of these best players, because, I mean, Josh Hart is now technically my best player from that right-hand side, but I think Have I lost somebody throughout the season? I think I might have, actually. No, I didn't. It was just the money from last time. But you can see my money is nowhere near as good as what it has been. Just a £4 million. Just a £4 million. But yeah, my African sort of centre-backs of Comutio, and who obviously I lost to Celtic. We've got Al Montari, who's okay. He was obviously a free transfer. Those are the types of players I should be trying to sell now. 12 to 15 million pound, bring that money in, reinvest in better.
Yeah.
I think that's my tactic for this summer. That might take me to the next level, but I think that's going to be the hardest thing, is trying to find clubs who want to buy those players for those prices.
Yeah. I think you're comfortably in that sort of top bracket now of top 5.
Yeah. But let's have a look at your side of things, Dad, with your players. Is there any value in this
You
club?
managed to cheer me up a little bit then, just while looking at your team, and then you mean back to missing.
Yeah, I mean,
look at that.
£1.3 million.
I mean, I've got a very small squad as it is as well, so that's not looking too good. And it's, I don't know. Where am I going to... The keeper is the only place I'm going to get the money, really, isn't it?
Tony Weston's got 20 goals.
I mean,
That's
I'm pleased with
season.
that. That's his first season, 20 goals. Got to be pleased with that. Got to be pleased with that. But, I mean, I can't even sell him on, really. He's really worth a little bit.
$300K,
Yeah, so, you know, so... Oh, well.
Transfer budget. Doesn't look like you have one.
No, so...
Or been given one yet.
I'm getting used to it now.
I mean, the balance is good luck. Only in the red by 186.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but for some reason you went from 7.6 million to 156.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a board takeover that we missed. Nope. So never mind.
I mean, you've got to be pleased with what I've done for you, Alloa. So I'm trying my best. I'm keeping you in that league. That's the best I can do for you at the moment. I might sell my keeper and just get a couple of quid in.
Yeah.
I think that's the only option I've really got, really. Unless there's a couple of worldy freebies that really want to come to Alloa. So,
I doubt it. You can't even afford them at the minute.
No, I can't. It's got to be cheap wages.
So if you wanted to buy something, you're gonna have to sell.
Yeah.
So if he does. He does. If he doesn't, stuck with the same team. But hey, Dad's got this far with no money as we race towards the Scottish Prem closer than ever. But with us both in the Scottish Prem right now, I've been venturing into Europe. Getting knocked out of Europa League round of 16 by Monaco last season. Dad is slowly establishing himself in the Scottish Prem though. So have I wasted my head start and will he catch me in the race to the Scottish title? Once again, my scouts have done a stellar job looking for players from African nations as another quality right back was found for a really good price. Dad was a little alarmed though when his board spent £2.9 million on a 2,600 seating stadium expansion. I received a really good bid for the Saudi Arabian striker that I signed on a free transfer a few years ago and decided to accept a bid to reinvest the money. But I was already spending money as I brought in Max Cameron from Rangers for just £3.2 million who can help on both wings. Bad news came flying in my emails though as the chairman announces that he is withdrawing his financial backing of the club with immediate effect. And in some kind of crazy coincidence, Dad's Alloa side has enforced a transfer embargo as a consortium are looking to take over the club. A couple of weeks later and the full takeover was complete with the board already looking to invest money into the club. Another big offer came in for Josh Hart, a player I have been using frequently on the right hand side and therefore I don't really want to sell him right now. With the money I brought in already though through transfers, I began bringing in some new signings just like this fantastic left winger. I honestly can't praise my scouts enough though as they found me a fantastic centre back on a free transfer that I really hope I can bring to the club. Very much a game changing player. Dad's quietly gone about his business though, signing a left wing back as the new season looms nearer. With his side taking shape already, the money has been spent and just a few players joining the club to hopefully improve his league position. Meanwhile, I had spent a good amount of money spread across various new players, which has been successful for me so far in Scotland as I've progressed up the leagues. And those guys were also helping us qualify for the Europa Conference League this upcoming season. But with the season well underway, can either of us start to challenge these old firm clubs? Dad, mixed bag at the start of the season there.
Yeah, I like playing Livingston.
Yeah.
Beat them twice.
You haven't exactly spent any money, but you haven't sold any players either.
No, I just felt that I just couldn't afford to get rid of anybody because I knew I didn't have enough money to sort of bring anybody else in. So it's another one of those seasons where I could struggle again, but I've just got to go with it, really.
Oh, I still think you're making a mistake. I still think you should be selling players. I mean, the guys that you're bringing in are good free transfers, but to take you to the next level, I think starting to sell players is how I then got to start. But I mean, I was obviously helped because of the takeover, but still, no longer have the money there because they withdrew their investment.
The only problem I've got though, if you look at the value of my players, that I haven't got anybody that sort of. I think my keeper is better than my best player.
Centre back Caden Wilson.
Oh yeah, I got
10
him,
million.
So he's gone up in value since the last lot, really.
2.7.
Yeah. So I mean, but they are. I mean, sometimes it's like a centre back. I mean, all right, I'll get a good bit of money, but he's a good one to sort of try and replace as well. So.
Trouble is, if you've got nobody who wants him,
no,
that could be a problem.
You know, it's. Do I just lose my best player and take a chance? I just don't know. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what you do.
At this situation, I just feel I've just got to hold on to, because he's in that sort of position is probably my most vital position. I'm not defending that well anyway, so I can't afford to lose my best defender.
But, and again, I explain this quite often, you sell that player for, let's say you only got half the money, 5 million.
Yeah.
You've then got 5 million to, one, find a replacement, and two, bring in 3 or 4 other players. I mean, that's what I've been raiding the Irish leagues, raiding the sort of like North and West African leagues, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria, because of the players you can get are so cheap, same as the Irish league. And then I've been either losing them because of release clauses or selling them on for, again, triple, sometimes quadruple, even more the price, and then reinvesting.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I've built the side that I have built so far. Unsuccessfully, might I add. I haven't quite yet won the Scottish Prem, but that's what I would be doing. Anyway, let's look at your tactic. You've gone for kind of like a 4-4-2 with an offset inside forward. We've got Taylor Richards who can play there because Chris Mockey, you've locked up front there.
Yeah, I've locked him up front. He sometimes goes out to the wing, so I like to lock him into that sort of position because I just got to. I think that is it.
Lewis Dobby.
I want Lewis Dobby to play in that position, but every time you sort of didn't lock him in, they swapped positions. But so yeah, that's what I'm going for this time. It's a little bit different, but hopefully it works.
Okay, let's have a look there at my crew in the south side. Obviously, I've brought in quite a few different players. Again, as I said, I've been raiding the African leagues. Uatara being one of the new players who come in up front, and Kalu, who's been a new player that I've brought in at right back. 6'4", he could also do a really good job at centre back. But other money has been spent. I mean, and maybe I overspent here on Max Cameron because I'm not quite sure he goes into the first team after I signed a couple of other players. But Jack Minnell as well from Falkirk. Keep doing what I said I would do. Sign all the best players that I can find that have not already gone to Rangers or Celtic in our league. This is what I mean by the wingers now, because Carl Marshall's a good striker, don't get me wrong, he's a good addition to go up front on a free transfer. But Aureli from Girona, £2.8 million, he's a really good winger. He is a fantastic winger for this level. So, and he's only 20 with a lot of potential, so I could eventually turn that into a huge profit as well. But that, of course, have all been that money is raised because of the selling of Al Mutari, who I got on a free transfer 4 seasons ago. So bringing him in on a free transfer, selling him for £4.9 million, and look who I brought in as a replacement, a far better player. 26 years of age, he's a little bit older, but he's left-footed. But this guy, I mean, quality.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
6'5", absolute monster of a player, really good. Fits in well with my 4-4-2, with Aureli locked into that defensive winger on the left. Now, scheduled at the start of the season, I haven't lost a game, but I am in 6th place in the league, and that is because I have drawn a game there against Aberdeen, and as you can see, I've only played 3. Everybody else around us has played 4. We're kind of the only teams in the league that hasn't played our 4th game yet, and that is because we play on the 2nd, but then everybody else would play, so I don't know the reason why. Maybe we're supposed to play each other, but my European fixtures knocked it back to the 10th there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
That might be why, because we're playing on a Wednesday there. But I have qualified for the Europa Conference League. Some European football, some difficult games in there, but of course...
You might have a good chance of that one.
Yeah, the main task is to win the Scottish Prem. Let's see if one of us can challenge Rangers or Celtic this season. Dad and I clashed in Dumfries, home of Queen of the South, in early September as I claimed a 2-1 win. However, Dad was smiling 2 months later as in the return fixture, his side won with a dominant performance. It seems both of us kind of stayed exactly where we were last season, despite improving each of our sides. However, one of my eyes was on Europe, as we went through to the quarterfinals, knocking out Fenerbahce in the round of 16, 2-1 on aggregate. Another win over Dad though, and with form like this, you'd think he would be worried, but in fact, he's so comfortably safe from any danger. Our run in Europe eventually ended when we went to Lille and took them to penalties after a 3-3 finish, and missed both of our first 2 penalties in the shootout, and we stood no chance from there on. Our league form in general though was so poor, and we ended up finishing in the relegation league split, which is such a big drop off. I mean, I don't know how I dropped into the relegation zone.
Well, I think that's the biggest surprise. I'm in ninth. I mean, I was comfortably never going to get relegated.
Oh, God, no. You're over double the amount of points of Livingston.
So it was a comfortable season for me, even though I'm down there. But you in 7th, wow.
Yeah, I had a bad end of the season there.
Yeah.
Really bad end because of... I don't know. It could have been the European football because that was played after. Kind of, I had 2 losses there, another loss there to Livingston and Airdronians there. So Kilmarnock, just a terrible, terrible time. But yeah, I mean, I dropped into the relegation group alongside you, Dad. Celtic have won the league again, 89 points. Nobody's even troubling them. They lost one game all season against Hibs away from home. They are looking comfortable right now.
Struggling to get anywhere near them, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, we're like, I think I'm like 7 or 8 seasons in the Scottish Prem now. Haven't even come close. I knew this would be difficult, but I didn't anticipate it would be this difficult. But here we are. You're 9th, I'm 7th. Not quite closing in yet. We've got a lot of players in the player statistics, which is good. Offord and Taylor Richards with the goals there. We've got quite a lot of player of the matches. Chris Mockery for you, Aureli and Comitio for me. And assist-wise, Mockery and Aureli both up there with 12, so that's pretty good. So outside of that, it looks quite bleak in terms of the league. But I've got to remember, I did play European football and I didn't do a bad job. Getting knocked out of the Europa League Conference final.
Good.
On penalties to Lille is quite
Unlucky.
good. Nothing in the cup, so
You still got the quarter final, but Rangers knocked you out. So that's the thing. We need to stay away from them, don't you?
Neither
really?
of us have won a cup yet.
No, that's unbelievable.
I've got to the final, but neither of us have even won a cup yet. So, okay, we just need to stick with it. Eventually, trophies will happen. I'm positive. But let's have a look, Dad. Your transfer budget for next season, you haven't been given one yet. We are at the 17th of May. It might be a little too early to say just yet. 17 goals from Tony Weston. Taylor Richards is there as well.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
I mean, Tony Weston done well for me. 17 goals. I'm pleased with that, but he didn't have enough support around him really to help him out. So, a bit disappointed again.
Okay, well, will you now finally sell players?
My squad is really small now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, dear.
And you've got players who are running out of contract as well.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Not first-team players. A few of them didn't even play a game, but there we go. My transfer budget for next season is just short of £1 million there with an okay wage budget. Of course, they pulled the investment, but I'm still reaping the benefits of selling players from last season and having a little bit left over, I think, because my squad is still rather big. We got 23 goals from Kieran Offord. Billy Comitio got 16 from set pieces. I mean, he played 24 games off the bench. So if you consider he only started 26 and he scored 16 from centre-back, mental. But he is 6'6", I think, something like that. Callum Marshall's done quite well as well. Aureli, 7. That's not a bad injury. No, we're all good. 3-6. Broke his toe. Never mind. He'll get over that. Josh Hart's still there. I rejected bids from Josh Hart in the summer, so I'm keeping him for a while. But yeah, what can I do with this budget here? And can Dad actually make a budget? That's the question we have going into this summer.
I've got to try something different.
I think you do. It's time, Dad. It's time to let go of those players.
Yeah.
Despite the money not being in the bank, I could still sell players for huge profits like this £8 million player that I signed on a free transfer a few seasons ago. And finally, Dad was following suit as he began receiving bids for players that he could bring in for good money so that he could reinvest, finding value in the market. Even accepting bids for his #1 goalkeeper too, as with the money he will receive, surely he can find a better one between the sticks. And bids for Caden Wilson increased as he manages to potentially get an extra £1 million for the player. I was still diving into free transfers though, and I have found a fantastic striker out of contract at Feyenoord. But with Wilson and Napa leaving for Dad, he was able to start bidding for some new players in many different positions, which would still leave him with money to spend and with bigger squad of players that are all better than what he already had. I was doing something similar though, as I was getting bids for £6 million for my young Turkish winger when I had already lined up a replacement on a free transfer from Arsenal. And more talented players came through both of our clubs as we are really upping the calibre of our squads. What's even better is these players are coming in for such good prices, and now contending for the title doesn't seem too far away. That is until you take a glance at the Celtic side who won the league the last 2 seasons and check out the quality of players that they have at their disposal. Dad, when you look at players like Fontalvo, I mean, he's on loan from Manchester City, but that's the calibre of player that we're coming up against here at Celtic.
22 as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, not too bad, but finally, you've been selling players.
Yeah.
£7.75 million for Napa and Wilson. Oh, it's a relief.
I didn't get as much as I wanted to get from, but
this is why I said,
there they go.
Last season, if you got £5 million, you can start bringing in those players. And you started listening, and you even started visiting into the places that I was telling you to visit in Ireland. Michael Noonan from St. Patrick's coming in. What a good striker. Decent striker there, Irish, of course.
Yeah.
And then Charles, again, another striker. I would probably not attempt to say that last name. Again, another good striker that you've picked up for less than £1 million. Straight away improves your side.
Yeah.
You even spent £1.6 million on a player here.
Yeah.
Labyad. That's the Caden Wilson replacement.
Yeah.
And guess what?
He was cheaper.
And he's better.
Yeah.
And he has a better potential.
Yes.
Better player for cheaper. It's smart. It's 20. He's only 20. Great potential. This is the way you progress up these leagues. So, Labyad comes in, great player there. Burrito on a free transfer. You're allowed to bring in, of course, more players, which is allowing you to fill your squad out. Jacob Donnelly, not a bad player there as a backup option. And Borgard as well, free transfer from Middlesbrough. Somebody who can fill in a number of different roles. It was just a case
of filling the squad up.
Filling the squad up.
Yeah.
Because that's what you can do now with the money. And look how big your squad is now, considering at the end of last season, you're going, look how tiny my squad is. So allowing you to do that because of the money coming in, which again I've been hoping you've been doing for a while, but there we go. Right, so schedule then. You haven't started off amazingly well.
No.
Lost 2 games already. One against Motherwell.
I didn't start too bad in the league. It was a draw and a win. So I started off, I'm happy with that. I'm going places. But then I had Celtic and Aberdeen the next 2 games and they just demolished me. Celtic.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Celtic was going to.
Oh, yeah. Some of their players that they've got. I mean, if you look at, he didn't actually score in that game, but Alejandro Sá got himself a hat-trick, and look how good he is on loan from Arsenal. They've got like 2 or 3 Colombian players, either on loan or with their club, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you play in the leagues on Football Manager. They just, all of a sudden, the leagues just get better because the computer or the AI is concentrating on that lead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you never see players like that just rock up in Scotland normally, unless you're actually managing there. But there we go. So
got you next.
Again, we always played each other at the start of September, it seems, recently. You're rocking now, Dad, a narrow diamond formation.
Yeah, I've just got to be a bit more more difficult to sort of beat. I've got a sort of better caliber of players in, a strength of my midfield, so got 2 good strikers, so I'm hoping this is going to work for me, really. Yeah,
for the first time in a while, you're able to feed that little itch that you always get about signing a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's only 23 as well. He's a good keeper as well for
African.
23. Yeah.
I bet see. This is where you get all the cheap players from. Good player. Signing for 500k.
I was pleased with that one there. 500k for a good keeper. And I didn't think I was going to get him because when I looked at him, it said he wouldn't get a work permit.
Yeah.
And I just took a chance and hopefully, going against it because he's so young, they would sort of allow it to go through, and they did. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, positive. I think your team's definitely improved there. You've even got an attacking midfielder called Carlos Alberto. That's how whoa, look at that, 150k he costs from Armenia.
And he's got 3 goals already.
Yeah.
Good start.
Unbelievable. Only 20. What a player.
Celtic could be after him soon.
That's what happens. Have you accidentally put a release clause in? Of course you have. £2.3 million. We'll say goodbye to him.
Yeah, I didn't have much choice.
I might activate that one.
I couldn't take it out. He just wanted it in there, so I've got to take a chance.
How much of a shithouse would I be? I've been telling you to sign all these players for ages. Knowing full well that you might have to put a minimum fee release clause in, and instead of Celtic taking advantage of it, I take advantage of it. This guy here with 2 thumbs and manager of Queen of the South. Speaking of which, let's have a look at some of the transfers that I have got in throughout the summer. Now, again, I sold a player for quite a lot of money, £8.5 million, which basically funded my whole summer, and it was a guy that I signed on for, almost a free. I thought it was a free transfer, £1.1 million. Quite a long time ago now, but going to China for £8.5 million. So I was happy with that, and especially because last season he only actually started 19 games, so he was a bit of a rotational player anyway. But bringing in quite a few decent players that has allowed me to, again, just keep improving this side. Brought a goalkeeper in for 63k, and he's actually an improvement, so I think that was my weakest position. Christian Moga comes in for £1 million, a decent right winger from Romania, quality player, because I also sold Fatih from Turkey to Arsenal, and they loaned him back to me for free. So I was like, okay, like you can't complain with that. So he comes in on a free transfer as well. Adam Carras from Juve. I'm buying players from Juve here for £2.5 million. Ondoa for £1 million as well, a decent centre-back. João Fonseca, another decent centre-back coming in from Benfica. Great physicals, fantastic physicals.
Yeah.
But I think my best player, and so far it has been as well, Fabiano Rust on a free transfer. Dutch striker. He ain't been doing too bad either. 3 goals in 3 games for me. I quite like him. Tactically then, we've altered it ever so slightly. So now that we've got 2 or 3 really good left wingers, because one player I haven't mentioned here is Rocha, who might be now my best player. Uruguayan, fantastic left winger. I thought I just need to let him do him up front. There's no good having him down here as a defensive winger when he can do some dangerous stuff a little bit further up the pitch. Now, he does have a release clause, but if somebody is willing to pay me £23 million, I'm going to let them.
I'll have a look next season to see if I can afford him.
Maybe.
It'll be me. This guy with 2 thumbs.
This guy with 2 thumbs, manager of Alawa, who cannot afford £23 million, will find a way. But yeah, I think that's just the way I've got to go there. Now, I've locked in Rust in that position there, which meant I've kind of like thought, right, well, if he's going to be an inside forward, he's going to be bashing around here, I'll just slightly move these 2 across. So I have done so, and the rest of the team looks rather similar to what it was previously, and it started quite well. Now, I did draw against Livingston, which is a bad result, but I was also down to 9 men. So, I mean, one was in the 96th minute, so technically 10 men for the most of the game, but 42nd minute.
Look when they scored their equaliser.
Exactly, 97. Right off the back of it, from a penalty. So, my guy, who is the right back or left back, can't remember which side, he probably pulled him down, and then it led to the penalty. So, it did cost me the game. And outside of that, I would be top of the league. But I was battering teams. I mean, Callum Marshall scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals in an 11-0 win against FC Edinburgh. So I'm actually quite confident that, I mean, I haven't come up against any of the 2 big ones yet, but I'm quite confident that I can get to 3rd place and be like in a league of my own. Possibly split them.
I tell you what would be interesting to see how many goals Callum Marshall scores at the end of the season, considering that he just scored 8 in 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got 3 since.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 since in 5 games, which isn't bad. I don't think the trouble is he's playing every game now, because Rust goes there, and then Offord goes there, and then he's got a face-off against Bob Mackie Spinacci as well. So I don't actually think he's going to be getting as many games, because Kieran Offord just starts naturally because he was my top scorer last season, now that I've locked in Rust. But I think Rust is a better player. So that is going to be an interesting one. So can that happen this season? Now, Dad has finally started bringing in better players. Now that I've, of course, bringing in more better players, and obviously for higher values that they could go, I don't know, this could be a game-changing season where one of us, or both of us, gets into that top 3 or 4. Let's see. Once again, Dad and I were clashing at the beginning of September, and it was a lovely 4-2 victory for my Queen of the South side. We actually went unbeaten all the way to the end of December when we received back-to-back defeats, which annoyingly dropped us down to 2nd place. Fabiano Rust, though, has been a revelation up front, scoring 17 goals in just 20 matches in the league. Unfortunately for Dad, he wasn't getting the improvement he desired and was still knocking on around the relegation spots. And he would not be happy with how we beat you in the next game, scoring the only goal of that match. Another loss to one of the big 2, this time it's Rangers, and once again we've dropped out of the top spot as we head towards the back end of the season. We then crossed paths with Celtic, and they equalised in the 95th minute to stop us from leapfrogging them again. So here is the situation with just 4 games remaining. Dad is safe and no longer in danger of being relegated. Myself is in 2nd place, 1 point behind Celtic, and with my 4 remaining games I've got to play both them and Rangers away from home, which straight away we put ourselves at a loss when we were defeated by Kilmarnock 2-1. A fantastic win at the Ibrox Stadium though, and it's put us back on track if we can just beat Celtic in the away game on the final day of the season. That is because Celtic went to Rangers and drew 1-1 to drop 2 points. A comfortable Queen of the South victory against Hibs in the penultimate day of the season means it does indeed go to the final day. And what a start it was for us too. With just 4 minutes in the game, we broke through Celtic's defence to score the opener. It took Celtic until 25 minutes of the first half before before they eventually did equalise, and then even went on to score a second goal just 3 minutes later through Fontalvo. Don't count us out just yet though, because Callum Marshall was scoring an equaliser in the 34th minute. But still, in the first half, an attack down our left-hand side once again, and Fontalvo found himself with lots of time and space and fired home a winner for Celtic. Would you believe it? Fontalvo, the on-loan signing from Manchester City, has cost me the league. I mean, he's got better. He's got better again.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
But he cost me at the end of the season there from winning the league.
You didn't do bad a second half, mate. You drew 0-0 second half.
Yeah. To be honest as well, I folded earlier on from that loss. I lost to Kilmarnock. But look at this. Look at the heat map.
Yeah.
Down here. How high up the pitch we were against Celtic. And look how far down they were. It's just heartbreaking. But there we go. That is the nature of the Premiership in Scotland. And unfortunately, Celtic once again pick up their third title in a row, I believe. But I was very, very close there. 86 points to 91. Of course, if I had the 3 points and they had it taken away, I would have been crowned champions. Fabiano Ross did get the top scorer, though. So I'm on the right path. Average rating, Rocha and Carras, both there. Carras and Rocha also had the same amount of man of the matches. And Vitek actually had more clean sheets than what I've been getting the last few seasons as well. Dad, what happened? I mean, you are safe as houses from relegation again.
Yeah, I think it's the case I'll just get safe and then they just sit back on it. I don't know.
At the same time, though, if you look, you had 43 points. And I know Hibs have obviously played 5 games from these 5 years, probably lost all 5. You're a point behind them. You're in 6th. And obviously the ones above you.
Yeah, they're all above me.
Yeah, you're only 2 points behind Hearts and Dundee.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly you're that far away.
One more win would have put me...
Dundee United.
Yeah, come on.
Oof, I was almost cancelled. I almost had to shut the channel down.
You look at that, 2 more points. One win would have put me above Hearts. So
yeah,
you look at it then and think, if I'd finished in 8th, you'd have thought, a little improvement.
Exactly.
But yeah, I am disappointed, but I'm building now.
Yeah, I think you got the players.
Yeah.
It's just find the right system for them to go into.
Yeah.
But as we said, schedule, the Kilmarnock game killed me at the end there. That was a bad loss. Obviously, Celtic probably would have still won the league because of the points, but it would have put me in a much more comfortable position to then face Celtic. And it was the same scenario on your schedule, Dad. If we're having a look at your schedule, you had a bad end of the season there when it came to the full Premiership. You lost to Hibs, Rangers and Livingston in a row, which meant in the relegation zone, or relegation group, you were already on the back foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had some good wins.
I beat Rangers there, and Celtic underneath that as well.
Drew to them there as well, away from home.
Let's see, I know how to play against them. Knocking
on the door. Hey, I beat them earlier in the season.
Yeah.
All right, calm down. Who was that who said that all the way down there? In 10th. Yeah, I think we're knocking on the door well and truly to both of us being up there. But I was very close there. You got £1.26 million. Wage budget is not quite there for you, but
I might sell one more player just to make it a little bit better.
That's it.
And then go again. I think it's just 1 or 2 positions I could do with really improving. So
yeah, I tell you what should be something that you should be doing is offering players like Carlos Alberto a new contract.
Yeah, and taking away this
to get that release clause out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
I can't afford to lose him for 2.3. Can
no, that's the trouble. There's a couple of players that you might have to go through and check. Now he's all right, your goalkeeper, but yeah, that's definitely something I would be doing.
Yeah.
Because scumbags like me with £11 million in my transfer budget, but that is because I lost Sana.
Ooh.
I lost my best centre-back halfway through the season.
Yeah.
That is a big loss.
And how much did you lose him for?
14 million, sorry, after getting him on a free transfer.
Good profit, though, isn't it?
It's a huge profit, but he was my best player.
Yeah.
With him, I might have won the league.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, if you look at it, you lost him in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have done.
So that is a harsh one to take. But it means I've got a stupid budget now going into the season to find a replacement and hopefully, build on this.
I'd be knocking on the door of the boards. What you cost us the league?
Yeah. but they are also giving me the money to do this at the same time. Fabiano Rust was definitely a highlight this season. He got 23 goals just in the league alone with 7 assists, 24 across the whole season. Really good. But again, we cannot win any cups.
It's unbelievable. Now.
It's so bad how bad we are in the cups. But hey,
you're getting to the quarterfinals quite comfortably.
Yeah, but then it's clubs like Dundee United knocking me out. They're in the relegation half.
Yeah.
So we need to sort that out, but there's going to be a lot of money spent, I feel like, this summer as we continue to challenge for the Scottish Prem. So yes, it's heartbreaking at the end of the season there. However, that just means that the race to the Scottish Premier League is still wide open. However, after 10 seasons in, we are finally closing in on the big 2 and came very close to completing the challenge. Well, actually, it's more of that my Queen of the South side is close, as Dad has really struggled and dropped off in recent seasons. But he is learning, as selling players recently has helped him, and actually he has money now to spend. He just needs to make sure he's bringing in the right players with that money, and of course having the correct system, as he's still got a lot of catching up to do if he's to get anywhere close to where I am as we race towards the Scottish Prem. He starts off with a very smart move of offering his best player Carlos Alberto a new contract to try and get rid of that low minimum fee release clause, and has to settle for one that is a tad higher, around the £7 million mark. My scouts are at it again though, finding a fantastic centre back from Chile with a £2.3 million release clause that I'm absolutely going to activate. Dad's scouts are also finding some quality players as well, as this winger is there on the free transfer market, which of course will change his narrow system. Yet again, my scouts are doing me proud, finding a Japanese striker this time that I can bring in to my Queen of the South side, which I was confident in doing so because I've just sold Callum Marshall for £8.75 million, which is a striker that was just a rotational option for me. I'm also bringing in free transfers, with Floyd Samba coming in as a midfield option for me, as well as signing another defensive midfielder from Belgium as a ball winner type for £2 million. This season got underway though, and I have a lot of games to play, as there were Champions League qualifiers for myself to win. The first qualifying round, we overcome Lawson Sport 2-1 on aggregate and settle for a 0-0 in the second leg. The next qualifier we had though was the daunting task of going to Istanbul to play Galatasaray. However, we came out of that with a 2-1 advantage again. Although we did have an opportunity from the spot to make it 3-1, but Hernan Rocha missed a penalty. Thankfully for us, it didn't matter, as we won the second leg 3-1, and he actually scored a second goal of the game in this one instead. Dad had started the season reasonably well, winning his first 2 games using a new system, leaning into a 4-2-2 with a narrow slot for Carlos Alberto. However, his third game was unfortunately against my Queen of the South side, and I was picking up the 3 points. Deadline day closed in, and we were both still trying to make transfers happen and bring in new talent over the line. All right, Dad, you're slowly strengthening your side.
Yep.
Free transfers coming in that are better than the free transfers
I think these are
previously.
Yeah, I think these are definitely better. Definitely strengthened the side. So I've got a striker, right back, and a winger in. So
yeah, he's a really good winger as well.
So hopefully that'll sort of make it a little bit better for me.
Yeah. Tactically, you have changed things around.
Yes. Well, we talked about Carlos Alberto, didn't we? He was probably my best player. So I got him in the position. I was in and out of to play 3 up front, but getting the winger in decided me to sort of go for a winger as well.
Right. Okay.
So I changed it from 3 up front to playing the winger.
Yeah, and also, of course, the really important transfer of locking him in for a higher release clause of 6.75 so that I wouldn't activate it. Because I was tempted. Imagine if I did. That would be complete shit house for you. Right, anyway, now I did sign a couple of players myself. Of course, I had a bit of budget left over. Then I decided to sell Callum Marshall to Leeds for a really good price. So obviously I lost Sano as well for £14 million in January. So even though they're not giving me any more money, I'm still able to generate enough to that I can actually spend money. So Callum Marshall going for 8 million, Bob Mackie also going for nearly $1 million, and then Max Cameron also leaving, was enough for me to spend a good amount, to be honest, but not too much to go silly with it. So I replaced Sano with this man here from Chile, so a decent centre back. Don't think he's as good as Sano, but still decent.
Yeah, good,
especially for the league.
Yeah.
And for a good price as well of only £2.3 million. Ledwaba for just a cheap price, but again, it's one of those players that I think, all right, bring him in now, get a bit more money from him later on. Then we got Maruhashi, who I think is actually a really good sign-in, £2 million, cracking little striker that is, left-footed as well. Couple of more, Bourgeois, who I decided to bring in for that centre defensive midfielder, same as Samba really. There's a couple in there. Cudsworth, left back, and then finally we've got Regic, who was a deadline day. We both like trying to sign players on deadline day here. Picked him up, good midfielder on deadline day. Now, I've kept the same tactic as what I did last season because I had a really good season. I'm not going to lock anyone in this year though. Not going to lock anyone because obviously last year I locked in Rust. I don't know whether it would be a mistake, but before we've got to this point, it hasn't been. They've both been doing quite well. Offord's got 9 and Rust has got 5. We've gone a little bit further, got a bit carried away. We've actually gone to the end of September here. We have already played each other in August, and I beat you 3-1. I have also qualified for the champion. I don't know how, but I've qualified for the Champions League.
Yeah, well done.
Knocked out Larsen Sport and Galatasaray along the way. I went to hell and won 2-1. Beat them 3-1 when they came to Dumfries. So really strong start to the season. And you're actually in a similar situation, Dad, whereas you've drawn a lot of games.
Yes. Bit disappointed with that, but I suppose a point's a point, isn't it? So it's better than a 0 point. So I'll take it, but I'm going the right way. That's what I'm looking at.
You're going further up the table rather than down the bottom. I think you're going to be easily safe. You might even creep into that top half.
That's what I'm hoping. Get into there and then stay in it. That's what I'm hoping to do.
Well, that's the plan. My plan is to get in between or above both Rangers and Celtic. Of course, Europe isn't a deciding factor in the challenge, but it's just nice to be involved and maybe cause a massive upset every now and then, which Newcastle found all about as we beat them 5-0 in the league phase of the Champions League. It's just a shame we couldn't qualify, however, after only winning 2 of the games and losing the other 6. We crossed paths with Dad again in the pouring rain of November and pulled off a 1-0 win. However, Dad's Alloa side wasn't failing like previous seasons, and the next time we clashed in February, he was picking up the 3 points. And as we approach the back end of the season, here he is behind me in 4th place, albeit 19 points behind. He even managed to get in the top half of the split, and he beat me again 2-1 in Alloa. And there they are in 5th place and qualifying for Europe next season, far better than last season's efforts. Although we were disappointed with our league season, we can celebrate still though, because we lifted the Scottish FA Cup, beating Celtic on penalties. Well, fair play, Dad. You got into Europe next season.
5th. Hey. Easily as well, 5th as well. I'll take that.
Nice. I mean, I think the fact that obviously we're playing in Scotland, which means they're probably doing better in Europe. We're getting more spaces in Europe now. Yeah. So I've got Europa League football next year. I'm 10 points behind Celtic, which I am disappointed with because Rangers have somehow leapfrogged both of us and become champions.
Yeah.
That is quite annoying when you consider last season I was 4 points ahead of Rangers and only just behind Celtic. I have dropped off a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed. Maybe that last season was kind of like just a cracking season for me. Rangers have got the likes of Rasmus Højlund. So they've got some cracking players in the league.
That's why, isn't it? When we get players they're getting.
But you've got Charles Akinratario.
Hey, 19 league goal scorer of the league.
Yeah,
hey.
Highest top goal scorer in the league there for you. Kieran Offord only got 12. So where's my guy?
Yeah.
He was scoring so many last season.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's not there anymore. So that might be a problem for me. But anyway, outside of that, though, we've got to check it out. We finally won a trophy. Scottish Cup. I mean, it doesn't count towards what we're doing. It's just a nice thing to happen.
Yeah. It took us a long time to do it.
It took us so long,
yeah.
I can't believe it. I mean, this is year 13, something like that? But here we go. Scottish Cup, we've won it. Not 13. About year 10 we are in. Scottish Cup, penalty wins over Celtic. That's the good cup as well.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to win. That's basically Scottish FA Cup. So a solid season, knocked down the league phase of the Champions League. But I'll tell you what, I had a good time. Because I did beat Newcastle United 5-0. So...
Where did they finish? 5th?
They finished 5th. I was the only one they beat them. They came to Dumfries and they got absolutely panned. They were drawing 0-0 to Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. And there I am, beating them 5-0.
That's some result, isn't it?
Crazy stuff, isn't it? I mean, I won 2 games. I also beat Sassuolo and then lost 6. But there we go. I had a good time in Europe. You'll also be in Europe hopefully next season if you qualify. Overall, it's been a good season for both of us. Just not in the league. 21 goals for Kieran Offord, 16 there for Maruhashi, who has picked up a bit of an injury. He's come off the bench quite a lot. Fabian Russ, very disappointing season this year compared to last, where he got 23 last year. In the same system, he only got 10. Don't know what's going on there. We'll have to have a look.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah. Transfer budget, I've got £6 million, but I did have a bit left over, really. Don't think I lost anybody in the window. I didn't in the January window this time round. But let's have a look at what you are rocking with, Dad. Going into this season, 23 goals from your striker there. Carlos Alberto, again, had a great year. So, solid pickup as well from the winger.
Yeah.
9 goals, 13 assists. Really good. Your transfer budget, though, not a lot there.
That's bad news, isn't it? Again,
though, it might be a case of just got to sell a player. Bite the bullet, sell a player. That's just what you got to do in this league.
I'm in that top half now, so I've got to do something, haven't I? So, yeah, I'm ready to do it.
Yeah. You've got yourself into Europe. Get yourself qualified.
It's a big season for me with being in Europe. I've got to do something, so, yeah. I might have to sell him. Well, one of them.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, let's see what we crack on with during the summer. Immediately, a huge bid comes in for Dad's winger. He signed on a free transfer last year for £10 million and he's accepting it, which seems to be a really smart move, as the players he is then able to bring in for that money has been a huge eye-opener to him as the improvements he can now make. I'm also accepting bids for my players too, with Ouattara going for £4 million, and he isn't the only one, as my wingers also had bids, meaning it's another £10 million in total for me. And with that, I decided to spend it on another striker who is a cracking player from South Africa and a focal point of my attack, as I'm looking to switch things up this season and go from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 with 3 strikers. Dad's still making changes and even bringing in a new goalkeeper that very recently has been released by my Queen of the South Side as backup for him. And the new faces have struggled in the league for Dad, but have really helped him qualify for the Europa Conference League. I, on the other hand, had no qualifiers and just could solely focus on winning my first 3 league games. Right, Dad, talk to me, because you signed 10 new players off the back of selling your winger, of course, Segura, who you got on a free transfer.
I got him on a free transfer. 1 season later, I'm selling him for nearly 11 million. So, really good. Yeah, I mean, I thought I'm not going to waste the money on just 1 or 2 players. So I try to be very clever of what players I bought and, you know, sort of how much I was spending on them.
Yeah, the most you spent was this man here to replace him.
That was to replace him. So 2.5 million. So give me 8 million, really. Yeah. So, so I spent most of it.
Brought my keeper in as well.
I had to. My keeper disappeared. So
he didn't kill him. He ran out of contract. We're just going to clarify that before we get ourselves in the show. He just disappeared.
Where the hell did he
go? He's the reason why we didn't finish 4th.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I've brought in players that might slightly improve my team, but also good squad players as well. So I'm filling the squad up with players that might not get in the team this year, but could get them in next year, or I could sell them on next year. Just exactly what you've done. Good prospect players, good sell them, especially if I've got them for free as well. So
I mean, I think you've learnt the lesson here.
Yeah.
£10 million you managed to accumulate.
But what I will say in my defence,
player.
Off my defence though, I haven't had many players of that value in my team up until the last couple of seasons.
No, but in my defence of attacking you, you were getting offers sometimes of like 500k, and you're going, I ain't accepting that.
But I couldn't buy a replacement for him. For 500k.
If you were getting 500k for a player, that say it's like a centre back, you could then find a centre back for a free transfer and have roughly 400k after the wages were taken out to then find whatever you else wanted.
Yeah,
that's what I started with, and that's what I was telling you the whole time. But I think this is the side of obviously how you've made it play out. Free transfer into £10 million the following season.
Yeah,
but it hasn't started well. You're down in 11th place. So you look at that, you go, oh yeah, it must have started well.
There's a lot of greens in there, but
I'm doing well in Europe. You qualified for Europe, fantastic.
Yeah.
You beat Rosenborg, you beat Jerusalem there, great stuff.
Yeah.
You're also through the next round of the Cup, but you cannot win a Premiership game.
I'm struggling. I mean, 1-0 against Celtic, I'm quite happy with that result, really.
Yeah.
I'm quite close to them. So, but yeah, I'm struggling in the league.
Draw
really.
against Kilmarnock.
Yeah, that's...
and I lost to Falkirk.
Yeah. So, yeah, I haven't...
Falkirk, sorry, people keep saying.
in one way, I'm looking at it and thinking, I have started well because I'm doing well in Europe, but it's the league thing that is most important as well. So
yeah. So you're in the Europa Conference League. Nice little competition for you to be in, really. It's your first one. There's some teams in there that I definitely think you can take points out of, but also some tricky games too. Sparta Prague, Ghent, that ain't going to be easy ones.
No, definitely not. So it's fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll win my 3 home games there, and I could be win the chance then.
Yeah. I mean, it should be said, you're playing the exact same tactic.
Yeah, I haven't changed it yet.
Haven't changed it.
Like I said, I've replaced the winger, didn't I?
Yeah.
So Gordon's in now, so just hopefully I had a good season last season, so I'm hoping it will change and have a finish up good.
Right, okay. Let's have a look at my Queen of the South side then. Bit of transfer activity, but I've left £11 million in the budget because I'm kind of just like, I don't really know what to spend it on at this point. I sold Constant Ouattara for £4.3 million. Still had some left in there anyway. So I brought in this man as a striker who I think can be quite good as sort of like a target forward type of player. Really good acceleration, pace, stamina, strength is not too bad, but he's 6'4", comes deep to get the ball. Composure's good. Off the ball isn't amazing. Teamwork's decent. Finishing and first touch is good. He's got 2 goals in 3 games already, South African. Signed him for quite cheap. And I'm playing him on the right-hand side of a front three, where used to be down here was a defensive winger. I'm moving away from that now. In fact, I think that was kind of it, but with that one further up, what I was using beforehand. Locking in Rust as well, because last season he missed out, really.
Yeah.
He didn't get as many goals, so I want to lock him in. Now we're going through up front. Let's see what happens with this, and at the minute, it's been all right. We're top of the league. I did get knocked out of the cup by Hearts, but in the league games, the games that do matter, right now, we are flying through.
Good start. You got your hard game next game. That's where you really see where you're standing. Really, I think
that's where it all go downhill. So I'm in the Europa League. I've managed to qualify for the Europa League, so I've got 2 extra fixtures than what Dad would have in the Conference League.
There's 3 hard teams. I can see 4.
So, yeah, Napoli's in there too. Sporting, Leverkusen, Athletic Bilbao. Some really Wolfsburg away at the end.
Yes, yeah. Oh. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, knocked out in the league phase again by the looks of it. But all right, let's see how we do. Dad's first time in Europe. I think this might be like my 5th or 6th time, but hey, we'll see. Can I hold on to that top spot in the Scottish Premier? To do that, I will have to beat Celtic, but unfortunately, when they visited, they ran away with the 3 points. Johnson has been a good sign for me though, scoring the only 2 games against Dad in early September. And Dad's Alloa side, however, might not have been solely focused on the league because their games in Europe were thick and fast. But that didn't stop him from winning all 6 games in the league phase and only conceding 3 goals in total, topping the group. We might have joked about my Europa League fixtures being difficult, but I was shocking Europe as well, because there I was in the top 8 with wins over Leverkusen and Napoli and a 12-0 win over PAOK. Dad fell off in the Scottish Premier League, but my crew in the south side still stood strong second in the title race. Alloa was too busy coming from behind in Europe and getting into the semi-finals of the Europa Conference to face Anderlecht, putting up a cheeky 1-0 aggregate lead in the first leg with a fantastic goal in Belgium. He wasn't the only one in a European semi-final though, as I had just smashed Brighton 7-1 in the quarters to go through to face Roma. And we were both doing Scotland proud as we took a 3-1 lead in Rome back to Dumfries, winning the second leg too rather comfortably, and we now have a Europa League final to play, of course against Eintracht Frankfurt. But guess who also qualified for a European final against a German Bundesliga team? That's right, Dad's Alloa Athletic. Now both of our league forms did suffer however, and Celtic ended up being too strong for me to catch, lifting the title, while Dad even failed to reach the top 6 again. Weirdly enough though, my final against Eintracht Frankfurt was being played first, and unfortunately for me, although we were putting up a great performance, we found ourselves 2 goals down within 17 minutes. We did however manage to pull one back just before half time through Rust, beating the goalkeeper to the ball, but we couldn't find another in the second half and lost in the final of the Europa League 2-1. So it's up to my dad and his Alloa Athletic side to win a European trophy for Scotland. And in such a cagey game, extra time, and 118 minutes on the clock, Gutierrez found himself free and slotted in the only goal of the game. What a win! in the 118th minute, 2 minutes before it would have gone to the lottery that is penalty shootouts.
Well, I started off well in Europe, and I finished well. Oh, take that.
Unbelievable win. Congratulations, you've won a big one there. European champions, Alloa Athletic.
There you go, Alloa. I've done it for you.
Yeah.
I'd happily retire now.
But he can't, because this is the race of the Prem.
Yeah.
And right now, he can't even finish in the top
I'm
half.
back down here again. Sorry, Alloa. But I think you'd take that.
I'm closer, but
Yeah?
I think the trouble is, I had a bit of a distraction as well.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
If against Frankfurt as well.
I
That's
know.
what makes it
Of
worse.
all the bloody teams. Hassan Kaya as well, he got the most goals. You look at the quality of player that he is.
I mean, I've got to say it. You done well to get to the final. When we seen
yeah.
the teams that was in the group, you done well. So have a look to see how you got through that.
So 10th place,
And you got to
lost
the
to
final.
Wolfsburg and Sporting, drew to Bilbao, beat Napoli 3-2.
Brenz is in there. Did you? When have you beat them somewhere along the line?
I beat Leverkusen, but I beat PAOK 12-0. 12-0. When I seen the PAOK game, if I was looking, I thought, oh, it's at home. If it was where I'd have gone, oh, Greece is never easy to go to. That could be a difficult game.
Yeah.
12-0.
When you look at it as well, you finished 10th. Frankfurt finished 11th.
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah.
So look
Yeah.
at the teams above you.
So we went into the knockout playoff rounds at that point and knocked out Levski Sofia 9-1. Round of 16 knocking out Rennes. Get in! You absolute dirty little rats.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Quarter-final knocking
Oh, dear.
out Brighton 7-1
That's
there.
a good
And
result.
semi-final Roma.
That was when I seen Roma at the top of that group. I thought, who beat them?
Yeah.
That's the result, I think.
Knocking out Roma. Now, Dad, on your side of things, let's have a look and celebrate your little victory here. Sorry, that's really undermining, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
your
a big
massive victory of a
For
European
Alloa, that's
conference.
a massive injury.
The league phase, you topped it. 6 out of 6 wins. Phenomenal
Look
group
at it.
stage as well.
7-1, 6-0,
I thought
5-0.
Sparta Prague's a difficult game,
5-0.
Yeah, 5-0. That's when I beat Newcastle. Same thing. Exactly the same. Then we've got into straight, of course, the round of 16, knocking out TSC. Into the quarterfinals, Sparta Rotterdam there, so good win against the Dutch
Only
side.
2-1 on aggregate. So.
Semi-final knocking out Anderlecht, so that's a good one.
Yeah.
Into Gladbach in the final, which I think you can both say that's the hardest team you've had to face.
Yeah.
And you beat them 1-0, so massive European victory. And what's it done for your finances? £10 million there, look. And you can see the spike, obviously, off the back of winning that. So hopefully some good stuff for you next season. And you can see that with the goals being scored as well.
Yeah.
Ian Gordon, what a signing that was for you.
Yeah.
Of course, replacing the winger that you sold.
$2.5 million, yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 million. Had a great season there. So your transfer budget for next season is lower, but I think you can kind of be like, all right, well, last season it was nothing.
Yeah.
This season they've at least given you $1 million.
Well, the way I'm looking at it now, and I know I shouldn't be, I've got 1, 2, 3 players that's over 10 million.
Yeah.
I mean, Gordon there, bought it for 2.5. What's he now? 14.5.
Yeah.
So I could do it again.
I think you could sell a striker, or even this guy, look, he's barely played. He
Yeah.
comes off the bench.
Yeah.
Selling that guy could be huge for you
Yeah,
because
because 9 million. Man, you struggled to spend the money that you had, wouldn't you? So-
Yeah.
And I did struggle to spend some of the
you
money
bought him
because
last season for 600k.
because certain players don't want to come to you, do they?
No.
And Alloa was unfortunately we're in the lower part of the league, so we're not sort of like the team everybody wants to play for.
But you're also in Europa League.
Yes. So I've got a bit of pull. But yeah, I've got to look at it. And the player, there's a couple of players below him, 8 million, 7 million, 6 million. So there's a few players I could just sort of
you
look
could
at.
cash
really.
in on a couple,
Yeah.
and then you could rebuild basically a full squad.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping to do the same. I mean, I've got £13 million, but getting to the final of Europa League, you gain quite a lot of money from that, and we can see that from the finances again. 3 million, maybe not. Don't know what that's about. Maybe we're waiting for it. We're waiting for it to come through. But squad-wise, let's have a look. So goals, Sifiso Johnson got 34. Fabiano Ross, that's why I locked him in.
Yep.
28 and 26. Solid.
Yeah.
Kieran Offord got 27. Do you know what? I don't really give him enough praise, but I bought him a long time ago for £2.4 million. He's had some cracking seasons for me.
Yeah.
Might be time to cash in. Who knows? But Hernan Rocha as well had a good season, who I brought in recently for a free transfer. So it's signings like that really change things. So £13 million as we go into, like, what, season 14, something like that, 13 and 14.
Yeah.
Could be enough to get us ever so closer to pinching the title, because right now Celtic are back on top after Rangers is one season there, but I'm sniffing right behind them. Just 5 points there.
Close.
Yeah. Can we do it next season, do you think? I don't know. The money's there. We just need to make the right signings. Either way, it's a fantastic season for Dad. A European trophy as we continue the race to the Scottish Prem. Recently, we have still been miles apart in the league as I've been challenging while Dad has slumped to the bottom half. However, that's not to say there hasn't been any success for Dad's Alloa side, as somehow he got to the final of the Europa League Conference and won against Gladbach in extra time. And in the same season, I'd also got to the final of the Europa League, but unfortunately lost 2-1 to Eintracht Frankfurt. But with that distraction out the way, it's time to focus on the race to win the Scottish Premiership. Once again, I'm heading to the list of players my scouts have found, and they haven't let me down. A Chilean centre midfielder for just £2.8 million. Although there is a problem with FFP for Queen of the South and the suggestion of selling players. That didn't stop me from signing a centre-back for nearly £5 million as we pick up a lad from Fenerbahce that improves our defence. Dad had the same idea as he finds himself a Gemma defender in Australia at Melbourne City for £1.2 million, and he's left-footed. He was also sticking to selling players he no longer needed to raise funds still. My scouts were at it again though, finding an even better centre-back in Argentina for £6.8 million on a release clause, left-footed with insane physical attributes. Which means I have way too many centre-backs, and it means I can then offer out my original defenders to try and gain my money back, which will help with the FFP. Offers came flying in, and for a good amount of money too, with up to £12 million nearly for Fonseca and £4.5 million for Billy Comitio, who is also now 32 years old. Dad's enjoying the summer doing his favourite hobby of signing a new goalkeeper from Serbia who was an instant upgrade. I wasn't done though, my new centre-back had joined the club, and I'd also found two very good free transfers, a good left winger and a right back to add to my squad. Dad had done something similar as he welcomes in a new first team left back from Mexico who's been playing at Celtic recently, as well as a Uruguayan right back that his scouts had found for him. But with the money from my centre-backs, I had gone and went big as I signed a German right midfielder from Freiburg. The 24-year-old has cracking physical attributes, 20 for flair and great dribbling ability. And he slots very well into my new attacking 4-4-2 formation that I'm going to be running this season as we look to win that title. Dad stuck with the tactic that won him a European trophy last season, but is going to play a player in defensive midfielder spot that could be the best midfielder if he's seen better minutes. But it has certainly been a hit and miss start for the season for his European champions Alloa side. Because after a couple of good results, he is absolutely slammed 8-2 by Rangers, with Jayden Donaldson scoring 5 goals in the game. I, on the other hand, had just defeated Rangers before in Glasgow 3-1. And when I visited Celtic Park soon after, we rescued a point with my new winger Hansen scoring in the 93rd minute. And we went from that to be an absolutely done deed 4-2 at home. But terrible news for Dad, as on deadline day, his best winger is snatched from him by Sunderland without him able to sign a replacement. Well, Dad, deadline day curse. Ian Gordon has been stolen from you right at the depth.
Best winger as well. I mean, that's why I'm playing in that position, because he just causes a lot of trouble for everybody. So, yeah, I've lost him.
Yeah, I mean, you brought in some good players, but didn't anticipate that coming in the final moments. So, unfortunately for you, you're going without your best left winger there. But you did all right. You brought in goalkeepers. You brought in a couple of really good players, especially, I think, what the best player you brought in was that centre-back, left-footed centre-back. He's really good. Dominic Williamson from Melbourne City. So tactically, obviously, you're going with this, but you've got a couple of options in there anyway. He's quite good from the left-hand side. I don't think you had a lot of options to change it around.
No,
so I think you're smart just sticking with it, really, and seeing how it plays out. Because you started the season quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it's only one position in it, and I had a player that could play in that position, so you just got to really go with it. So, yeah.
But you took a bit of a tanking from Rangers.
Yeah, it did.
Like, that is... woof. Jesus, that is bad. But outside of that, I mean, you're looking all right, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, you don't mind losing against the top 3 of them because you know you're going to expect that, really. And now and again, you get a draw against them. So, all right, it's a bit of an hammering, but to beat all the other teams that you expect to beat, I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, you are European champions as well going into this season. So, it's no surprise why you didn't change tactic. Now, I sold one player, actually, I sold way more than one player, sorry. A couple of players going out, the likes of Billy Cometio there and João Fonseca, replacing my 2 centre-backs. Obviously, I splashed a bit on the winger at the end of the season there, and then and my last transfer, which was the 3rd of July. But a lot of guys come in. I think some of these free transfers are going to take me to the next level because some of these don't even get in the actual on the pitch. I mean, Lazaro is going to be like a rotational player for both my left and right winger, and he looks fantastic from Atletico Madrid. But Ezequiel Fernandez, I think, is my best signing, that left-sided centre-back. You had one, I had one. I think that's both been our best signings there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So my tactic, I've changed it around ever so slightly. We're going with a bit more of an attacking 4-4-2 now. I think I've got the players to just push the boat out a little bit and go that little bit more attacking going into this season. And it was looking great until I got absolutely done-deed 4-2, which is a little bit worrying at home. I hope it's just a blip, and I hope we can just carry on. We have also been drawn against each other in the quarter-final of the League Cup.
Nothing unusual there, is it?
No.
If I'm going to get knocked out, oh well, it had to be against you again, didn't it?
All right, so let's see how this season goes on. Can one of us start challenging to actually lift that Scottish Premiership instead of just flirting around with it this season? First off, though, the clash between Dad and I in the League Cup quarter-final, which I'm sure Dad will want to forget. And it was just as rough the month after when Dad came to Dumfries in the Premiership as a lovely Fabiano Rust hat-trick helped my Queen of the South Side pick up the 3 points. The other 2 fixtures between us in the league, the points were shared, but it still wasn't good news for Dad, who sits in the bottom relegation group. He did, however, qualify for the Europa League, going unbeaten in the league phase with 5 draws and 0 losses, managing to get through to the round of 16 after a late equaliser in the extra time and winning on penalties, where they would then face Feyenoord in the round of 16, and a tight draw in the first leg gives him a tough ask, but the famous name of Van Persie caused Dad a lot of trouble as he scored a hat-trick and eliminated him from the competition. I was unfortunately out of Europe a lot earlier as Dad, as my league phase was not great in the Champions League. We are having a much better time domestically, but chasing Celtic is getting harder each season. Because despite me having the 2 top scorers in the league, losing less games than Celtic and keeping more clean sheets, they still finished 7 points above me. There was something to celebrate though, as after the league campaign had finished, we had the Scottish Cup final, which Hearts gifted us a win. And funny enough, that was the only goal of the game as well. Bagged myself another cup.
Just because I won one last season, you had a win one this season, didn't you?
Well, yours was a European trophy, mine's just the Scottish FA Cup, but still, I'm buzzing with that.
Yeah, it's a trophy in the bag.
That's it. It's a couple of times I've won that now. We have yet to obviously win the Scottish Premiership. Celtic, yet again, just too much for me. 7 points ahead there, finishing second. But, oh dear, Dad, down in 9th place.
I was never in trouble, though.
No.
20-odd points in front of them, so I was never in trouble. But, yeah, I'm disappointed. You want to finish above Dundee United and be in that top half of the bracket, really, just to sort of, like, progressing, really. I just feel like I'm 1 step forward and I'm 3 steps backward at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm struggling, but I was never in any danger, so start building again.
Exactly. Now, the player statistics are kind of dominated by Queen of the South and Celtic players as well. Fabian Rust, Tobias Hansen, the 2 top scorers. Those 2 names are dotted around here quite often. Hernan Rocha is another one as well, who is my left winger that's been playing quite a lot. So that's quite a good sign, to be honest. And we also both have our goalkeepers in terms of the clean sheets, 12 and 10 there. So that's also a good sign. Maybe for you, it's a little bit more of the attacking side of the game. If you're getting 10 clean sheets, but still finishing in 9th place.
I'm playing 1 up front tonight, so
yeah,
got a change in it.
Well, you are playing 2 up top. You're playing a 4-2-2.
Yeah, but the winger out there.
Yeah, you had your left winger stolen.
Bring him in.
So let's have a look then at competitions, because obviously I won the cup, but I was knocked out of the league phase of the Champions League. Didn't quite make it. Had an okay campaign. Beat Benfica and Salzburg, drew to Chelsea, but unfortunately I lost against some of the big boys there and couldn't qualify, which is absolutely fine. We're not trying to win the Champions League here. And yourself, Dad, obviously you were eliminated in the quarterfinal by Queen of the South in one competition, 4th round by Livingston, but got to the round of 16 against Feyenoord.
I'm pleased with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Couldn't get to the final like I did, but you won a trophy last season, so that's by the by. 5-3 on aggregate. It's a good result. It's unfortunate. Galatasaray went on to win the competition, but in the grand scheme of things, bad season for you, I think.
100%. Yeah, league. I've got to concentrate on the league a little bit more. I need to get above that halfway line and stay in the top half, really.
Yeah. Goals-wise, you need a goal scorer, I think.
That's what it is. Screaming at me, really, innit? And probably a few more players in the support as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, problem is to buy a really decent one, I'm probably going to have to sell someone to get a bit more money.
Well, you've got £12 million.
Yeah.
So it ain't the end of the world just yet. Finances are looking quite good. Your debts and loans, obviously, because of the different stuff that they've been taken out for the stadium, etc. That's been going on sort of behind the scenes. So yeah, I reckon you could easily have a good window here. There's a couple of players that are worth something.
Yeah.
That if you look to cash in on, you really could. I mean, there's a player there for only started 12 games. Right, he come off the bench 28, but £7 million. If you got that, then it ain't looking too bad.
More of a push than I could do, really.
Yeah. On my side of things, my top scorer was 25 goal a season, Fabiano Rust, which I think is like his 3rd year with me now, or 4th season. And every season he's done rather well for me. Last year was probably his best. But he is 31 now. So it's one of those things. How long do I look to leave him? Because ability-wise, it doesn't actually look like he's that good anymore. Sifoso Johnson is kind of my best striker. He's been great for me as well. He's got a lot of goals, but 22. Tobias Hansen, that winger, with a lovely bit of flair, 23 goals and 16 assists. But on the left-hand side, 28 assists. Wingers coming in clutch for me there. So that's really good. And I've got £3 million in the transfer budget. But there's a lot of wanted signs around here that I know I could certainly cash in on should I wish to. But this is the thing. How many seasons have we done that? And we're still not closer to lifting the Scottish Premier. You can't even get into the top half. And we're going into season 14 now.
Yeah.
And I'm yet to get very close to Celtic. Yes, I've come second quite a lot.
I mean, when you look at that, though,
7
you're
points
closer
behind.
than what you think you are.
7 points is a lot.
Yeah, but you only lost 5 games. They lost 6. You drew too many games.
Drew way too many.
That's where you chucked your points away.
Against you. and Celtic, to be fair. There's been a couple of seasons where if I actually beat Celtic, I would have been okay.
Yeah.
And I would have been able to lift the trophy. But right now, the last couple of seasons, it feels like I'm sort of... They're pulling away from me or pulling away from us. And that's the trouble. I mean,
whenever we've played in the Scottish leagues, we've always said that when it comes to the time of winning the leagues, you've got to be beating Celtic and Rangers, whoever's playing well at the time.
I mean, look how good their left back is.
Yeah.
Like, that is ridiculous. He's worth 70 million. Brennan Johnson's still there as well. So that's who we've got to beat. That's what we've got to beat. We've got to have a big summer if we are to win the Scottish Prem. Dad started the season switching to a new tactic with 3 strikers and 2 DMs. Meanwhile, I was looking to cash in on Ronnie Borgia, who only started 16 games last season and is wanted by a number of clubs. And I was buzzing to see that my scouts found yet another fantastic player from South America, this time for just £2.9 million. There was exciting new plans as well for a brand new stadium to be built in Dumfries with a much bigger capacity. Dad began welcoming in some new faces as 2 players signed on the same day, a centre-back and a defensive midfielder that he picked up for £2.1 million from Japan. He's found more luck in Australia though, as this time a 300 grand striker who has all the tools to be a cracking goal scorer. I cash in on Borgia as he eventually leads for £10 million though, which means I can now afford to actually bring in my target, starting with the Paraguayan striker. I also rejected a bid from my previous right back on the same day that I'm actually bringing in a new right back who I think will be a starter. But my number one target this summer is Andre Luiz, a new goalkeeper from Brazil that has a £7.2 million release clause. Although a close second best signing of the summer is a free transfer I got from Bayern Munich. But that is also splashing money on a new CDN, bringing him in for £4 million. I'm happy though because my goalkeeper target has agreed to join the club for just £7 million. Solid signing. Dad thought he would be really funny by signing a defender from Rennes on a free transfer, as the guy clearly just had to get out there and was desperate. Possibly though, the signing of the summer is Dean Huijsen, who was a free transfer after leaving the Premier League, a fantastic experienced defender for my Queen of the South side. Although on his debut, he was tasked with taking a penalty to send us 2-0 up, and of course, he missed. And our opponents, Dundee United, scored in the last minute as an equaliser on the opening day. Dad also didn't get the result he wanted in his opening fixture, losing to Falkirk. We then clashed in an early fixture during August, and much to my dad's dismay, my Queen of the South side scored within the first minute of the match, humbling Dad with a 4-0 win in Dumfries. Well, Dad, you switched it up.
Yeah.
Went to a narrow after obviously losing the winger last season. It hasn't started very well for you.
No, it hasn't, no.
1 win in 5 league fixtures, couple of draws in there, which you should really be turning to wins. You're not scoring enough goals.
No.
Not scoring enough goals at all.
You give me an hammering again, knock me out of the cup.
Yep, as always. But I mean, looking at the players that you did sign, good goalkeeper, another good defender coming in. There is a huge lack of strike. I mean, that's a good striker, not a bad one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a huge lack of like an upward trajectory in terms of the forward-thinking players that you've got coming in. Great defensively. I do think you are
struggling to get players to come to me as well.
Yeah.
Though. That's the problem. You know, I mean, I felt I got the best of what I could buy.
Yeah, I mean, you already had good players. The reason why, obviously, you switched is because you had the likes of Canate and Carlos Alberto.
Yeah.
So 2 decent players in that attacking midfield, and 2 okay, good, like some decent strikers up there that you had playing for you. But it's bringing the next level in is what you've really struggled with.
I need 2 or 3 seasons in that top half, I feel.
Yeah.
To start attracting the better players. I mean, I'm starting to get the budget in now. And the value of players where I can sell them on to create a bit of money, but just no one wanted to come to me. They weren't interested in coming to me.
No. Do you think that because obviously you're a few steps behind me in terms of the build that we're doing here. Do you think you wasted a couple of seasons where you weren't cashing in on players, even if they were lower value?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think I was looking for players that were worth like 2 or 3 million to sell them, where you would have probably sold them where they were like 1 million.
Yeah.
And bought
free transfers.
Yeah, free transfers, or even 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
With that 1 million, and I wasn't prepared to sell a player for that low of an amount when it was my best player.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, I'm going to lose my best player, and he's only worth 1 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably that's 2 seasons too late.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm sort of like 3 seasons behind.
You're playing a bit of catch up after already having to play catch up because of the league. Obviously, staying in the same league as what you did for 3 seasons longer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, you look at that team now, and then you think that ain't a bad side actually. So, like you say, I'm probably about 3 seasons behind now.
Yeah. Well, it could be over this season if I carry on the way I'm playing right now, because the season has started very well indeed. The likes of Tobias Hansen has been scoring goals, same as Johnson. But the players that I brought in, I definitely think really improved the team. I think we're looking much stronger now, including, of course, Dean Huijsen, who has signed for us on a free transfer, who I think is now easily my best defender. Of course, bringing in a new centre midfielder who comes in and actually improves my midfield too, but then spending the big money, £7.25 million, on a better goalkeeper. And what I think is probably the best goalkeeper that I've had, and maybe one of the best keepers in the league right now.
Yeah.
Even when my goalkeeper last season wasn't exactly bad. We were getting enough clean sheets to go on and win the league. It was more elsewhere, but I think that could make a bit of a big difference there. So, I mean, selling that one player for £10 million pay for a lot of those players, that's where we were coming from. I'm sticking with the same tactic as well. I think I was quite close. I think improving my team the way I have.
Thereabouts, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's paying off so far. The start of the season, just 2 drop points away to Dundee United, even beating Rangers as well.
We've beat Rangers and
Possibly could be the
Aberdeen.
season. Yeah,
So you've played 2 good sides. And
Yeah.
Alloa, really. So you played 3 good sides, really.
yeah. Well, wipe the floor then. But there we have it. So will this be the season that one of us can win the Scottish Prem? Dad will have to do a big turnaround
You never know
if
in
it is
football.
to be him. But in this league, when you have to play every team as many times as you do, 3 times, and then maybe a 4th if you finish in that same division, anything could be possible. Let's find out. Anything indeed is possible, such as Dad's Alloa side giving up a 2-goal lead to lose 4-3 when we next faced each other. And just 2 weeks later, we were once again battling out in Dumfries as the home side won 3-1. So after Dad's bad start, things weren't going very well for him, with some really bad runs of form going into a better winter period, leaving him 9th, while I am currently sitting top with just 3 points above Celtic. Even qualifying for the Champions League as we won 3 games and drawn 2, including against Liverpool. But that is just when things started to go 180 for us, as we dropped some silly points and even defended really poorly against Celtic. Not only losing that match, but also being knocked out of the Champions League by Manchester City and the Cup by Rangers, as silly games cost us silly points. We were just barely holding on to top spot, as Dad had actually stuck into the top half just before the split of the league season for the final 5 matches. And as that split was just about to happen, Dad did all he could to take points off of us, but we managed to sneak a 1-0 win. However, a bad loss against Aberdeen, and this could be fatal for our title hopes, as Celtic take advantage and go 3 points above with 4 games remaining, and my only hope is that I can claw it back and beat them on the final day of the season. Although we are really lucky to be coming away with a win at all in the following game against Hearts after being 3-2 down. Dad's chance to try and stop me now for the final time in the 30th minute, as Warner fires in a rocket to give Alloa the lead. But on the hour mark, we pull one back to keep our hopes alive through Lazaro. The game turned around in my favour though. 3 minutes later, while in possession, a lunge from Carlos Alberto sent Dad down to 10 men for the remainder of the match. And we pressed until we inevitably found a winner in the 82nd minute from the same goal scorer, Lazaro. The trouble was that Celtic was still winning as we play Rangers next before the final clash against said champions. And boy did we show up on the penultimate day, absolutely smashing Rangers straight from the off, putting 6 past them. Which means it all comes down to the final day of the season. If we can beat Celtic, we lift the Scottish Premiership trophy. And we couldn't have gotten off to a better start when we took the lead after 12 minutes from Johnson, only to be pegged back just before half-time by Celtic to go in level at the break. But the second half, we put our big boy pants on and we capitalised on their bad defence, pressing high to pinch a second goal, and gave us an even bigger advantage just 10 minutes later with a third from Lazaro. Celtic did manage to pull one back in the 86th minute, but failed to stop us from snatching the title away on the final day of the season. Final day of the season, and we get the job done.
Well done.
To get above Celtic.
I mean, to win the league by actually beating them,
Yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
It's been so long, but I've got a feeling they beat me in one of the end of the seasons, which meant I lost the league.
Yeah.
So this is a nice little payback. A nice little payback time, especially when the players that they've got in their team is absolutely disgusting, some of them. So I am absolutely buzzing with that. A 3-2 win on the final day of the season means that for the first time, it's not Rangers or Celtic since the 80s, and it is Queen of the South lifting the trophy. 88 points, 88 points. It was on goal difference, the exact same win-loss draw ratio. Unbelievable. I mean, we deserved it with the amount of goals we were scoring.
When you look at league and goal scores, look, you've got 2 players up there.
Yeah. They had the most clean sheets, 19 clean sheets in total. But if we're looking at goals, I scored 110. Unbelievable. The most fewest conceded.
Goals.
Yeah, the fewest conceded. I conceded 47 to their 28. They did so well defensively, but they couldn't keep the 3 out on the final day. The 3 most important goals of this whole series, and I was obviously beaten in the cup by Aberdeen earlier on. So it was kind of a round of 16 of the Champions League, by the way. That's nothing to be started.
good.
Managed to
Yeah,
get
it's
to the
good.
round
Man
of 16
City.
against Manchester City.
Yeah.
That is not bad at all. The knockout playoff round had to play a Scottish team, but there we go. But, in the league phase, we actually qualified for once. It was just great. 3 wins, 2 draws, 1 at home to Liverpool, which was 0-0. We even lost to Man City in that one.
And
Unfortunately,
they finished top
Dad.
of that group as well.
Yeah. You finally managed to get yourself
Oh,
into
pleased
that
with
top
that.
group, yeah. Didn't do very far in the cups. Obviously, you already knew I knocked you out on that one. But you finally get yourself back into that, but it's too late, unfortunately. The challenge is over for Dad. If you're looking to get the save game file, if you want to carry it on, maybe you want to pinch the tactic, then be my guest. It's on the page.com/Megaloot Gaming or on the YouTube channel membership page. But I've had a blast in Scotland. It's definitely been challenging.
Yeah,
But
100%.
I think even though you've lost this one, you've learnt a lot more than what I have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because the mistakes that I think you made really
I've got to jump in a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've already started to see you do it in other saves now. All right, I need to sell him already. I'm like, I wonder why.
Yeah.
So, fair play.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm a bit disappointed I didn't win a couple of cups because I usually win a couple of cups in Scotland. And
Yeah.
the only one I won, I think, was the European Cup.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
So, I mean, it's a big one for the
the-
Alloa fans, but
Arguably, it's bigger than the actual Scottish Prem itself.
yeah. So I'm pleased with that. So it was an hard challenge. It was good and well done.
Yeah.
It's always going to be hard coming up to Scotland and do that, isn't it?
It's fun, but
Yeah.
absolutely. What do you want to see us race to next? We could be waiting a long time for FM25. We still don't know at this point of recording. There's loads of other databases. There's loads of other fun things that we could potentially do in FM24. So keep your suggestions coming down below because this was a suggestion left in the
Yeah, it
comments.
was, yeah.
Not specifically with these 2 teams, but a race to the Scottish Prem was suggested and we decided to do it. So thank you very much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed this whole series and make sure you have subscribed so you do not miss the next series that we start. But for now, if you're looking for something to watch instead, watch us race to the Super League or watch us race in terms of Youth to Gold. Those 2 are on your screen right now.